What's up? What's going on? What's happening? How's everybody doing? What's up, baby?
Hi.
No, not you, Chango. What's up, brother?
Let's get this party started.
Duval. Now, what's up, guys? How you guys doing? What's up, baby?
Oh man.
You guys, I'm warning you guys right now. If I'm a little razzle dazzle tonight, he already kicked it up in the and we're waiting to come in. He already
All
started
right,
with me.
Sergio.
It's called the green room in content creator world.
He already started with me, and it's all good.
Anyway, how
Oh,
you guys doing? Everybody that doesn't know, just to introduce, my name is Cricket. Well, my name is Manuel Madrano. They call me Cricket. I am an ex-MM member from Arizona who walked away for reasons that you can figure out if you watch other videos. And now I am working towards trying to give the message to at-risk youth that that is no life. Maruka is with us here. She's been Maruka for over 20 years, including all of the time that I was in prison, which is, well, not all of the time, 13 years of that when because I met her a little bit into it. And tonight we have Chango in the house. He is an ex Nuestra Familia member out of California, Northern California, originally from San Jose. Um, we he and I know each other very well. We were together in the federal system for I don't know 5 or 8 years or something. Something I can't remember exactly, but so there will be good chemistry, obviously. And Chango, how you doing, brother?
real good. How about you guys?
We are
Well, I'm
well.
doing okay. I know before we get into the talking, or you guys get into the talking, and people start asking questions, I just want to let you guys know that we have $300 that we're going to be spending money on for the band equipment, or band items for the Agua Fria High
Um,
School.
a little more than that. Rope sent 50 earlier. Sorry.
Oh, did she? See, I
Yeah,
didn't know that. See, well, this is the first time me talking to you right now.
yeah.
So, and well, then 350, and we're gonna go to Agua Fria and we're gonna help out the band there and
Yep,
get it
yep.
going. You know what I mean? Hopefully, start sponsoring kids in that way. And maybe we can make this like a thing for Christmas. I know that we donated toys to um, the Arizona Helping Hands, the foster kids last year. And, we sponsored some families, but I really do think that we should sponsor some kids that are in school, that need the help.
Yep, absolutely.
Yep.
So the reason I asked Chango to be here tonight, I know we're kind of monopolizing the time, but it's just as introductions, is because he has an similar story, not similar to mine, but similar as in betrayal of said prison gang. And to be honest, that's par for the course for prison gangs, and that's the point of this. And he is of the same mind as us. Would like to speak. Uh, would like to put the message out there for youngsters as well. So I think that he has a real strong story himself. His story itself speaks volumes. So I mean, I'm not going to tell his story for him, but that's why he is here, and it's not just for shits and giggles, even though we are going to do that too.
Well, you
Yeah.
already had your giggles a little bit ago.
All right, Matt. How you doing?
What's up, Chango? What you
Yeah.
got to say?
Well, as you know, a lot of people, you know, are aware of my situation. A lot of people ain't, but I'm from California. San Jose itself, and born and raised there, and grew up. Um, like I said, in the past, dysfunctional family, just doing things reckless, trying to find myself. But I'm not gonna, go in deep into my in the beginning, but I'm gonna talk about what transpired, me going into prison and being involved in the politics. And I look back and when I think about it, uh, it was just nothing but manipulation. I was a member of the, I ended up being first, being an NR member, which is the Nuestra, in California. And, started there. Well, I started as a Norteno on the streets, being around certain individuals, getting schooled that were already, coming out of prison and functioning, and started getting my schooling like that. But getting the county jail, getting more schooling, and kind of like, interested, I was kind of like amazed, how the structure was. I was already, like I said, already knew what was going on the streets as a young man, but it was looking at it when I look back, it was just nothing but manipulation, hogwash. I hear people talking about, today, that, oh yeah, back in the eight ladies and the 90s, when it was this and it was that, when it was good. Then then they talk about the 2000s. I was already gone, but incarcerated. But then the 2000, 10, and then now we are in the 2020, and now we're and people sit there and I'm not gonna say they glorify it, but there's no justice, man. And they always talk about, oh yeah, well, it was different. It was different. You know what? When I look back, there was no difference, man. Bodies were dropping from the 70s, the 80s, 90s, 2000s. There was still, they were had an agenda, and yeah, I'm just trying to give you a base thing as far as there's no change in it. Nothing has changed. So when you hear people talking about, oh yeah, well, it's they're here, it's different. Nothing has changed, man. In my opinion, in my eyes,
Yeah.
that it's getting worse or this and that. No, it's still there. But anyhow, I ended up, getting recruited as an NR member. You know, being going to prison and functioning. Putting in work and all that. You know, and I didn't realize how blind I was. You know what I mean? And at the same time, I hit Pelican Bay. Hit the yards, and eventually you're gonna get slammed down for getting in trouble. And I ended up getting a shoe program. That means you're going to get a indeterminate shoe. You're going to get validated, and you're going to be stuck going to Corcoran shoe or Pelican Bay shoe. Anyhow, I was sitting there approached by some high-ranking member of the NF, and I ended up getting recruited. And I mean, it sounded all good, man. I mean, if you look at the paperwork and all that, you're like, wow. And I hear a lot of people talking about after they leave or they join another fraction, or another crew, or however you want to call it, another clica, and people try to justify their means, and anyhow, you know I end up getting out and paroling in '95, and I started functioning, with, they say, the regiment. Then it was different. There was called cabillos, and you had squads, regiments, separate, like, you're from this. It didn't matter where you're from. If you fall into the regiment, I'm from San Jose, I'm gonna function. If I have to function with the Salinas regiment, I'm gonna function with the Salinas regiment. But anyhow, I was there, for years on the streets, functioning, and meeting all these dudes you hear. A lot of you guys don't know the names, because being from Arizona, but a lot of you guys watch YouTube, so you hear all these uh, names, in California from they call it the Nuestra Familia. I call it the Carnophagus, the Carnales, But anyhow, I was able to, meet all these guys, and I was really involved deep in, the politics. Anyhow, uh, there was a lot of things going on, power struggles, within Pelican Bay and, the streets. And for some reason, well, I already know what when I was functioning, some guys started campaigning, you know, against me, trying to get me out of my position, and and that's the story of a man's life. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, and I ended up getting hit. Again, blasted, set up, blasted. It wasn't sanctioned. It wasn't sent to brass. Just certain individuals that had a different agenda, and it's unfortunate. But for some reason, for the grace of God, at the time I didn't believe in God, but I'm a strong believer now. But when that incident happened, I was able to live, and it was it was just unfortunate, man, because I know I'm not getting into details because a lot of guys already know the story. What I want to send is that actually the message I want to send is that I was able to at the end of after all that happened, I end up getting caught up with these guys after they say I left, but I never left. I end up how they say holding my mug, kept my mouth shut after the fact, and um, an indictment comes, and then I kept my mouth shut, and at the same time, for what? A lot of those guys just started flipping, started how you say cooperating, telling, whatever you want to call it, man. Anyhow, I ended up getting a boot a lot of time, and I had to really really look at things, and look at my life, and it's kind of sad because you hear a cricket story. I mean, you hear a lot of these guys stories, man, and he's from a whole different state, and you hear the betrayal, the backstabbing. People are going to try to justify the means, saying that, well, he's no good, or he did this or he did that. Okay, if that is the case, fine. I'm here, cricket's here. There's a bunch of other dudes, whether on the streets or in prison and on no good status. But when you look at it, what was the reason? I mean, I got guys that I dealt with, you know, in the '90s, and I was there, man. And a lot of you guys know these names, Brown Bob, he got murdered in front of his lawn. You know what I mean? What was the justification? High-ranking member, you know, another friend, at the time, associate, whatever you want to call it, MC. He's from Salinas and got murdered. Dudes just, it's like they try to murder me, and like I said, for the grace of God, I'm here to talk about it, man. And it's sad because I'm out here now, I'm pretty, I'm doing good. I'm doing good for myself. You know what I mean? Change what am I thinking? I'm out here, established, for the most part, helping people, young guys, people in general, with the problems with, drugs and alcohol, and I want to, actually express the fact that how the treachery, you know, and like the betrayal. I mean, it's just these people, you hear big homies and the respect and this and that, but where's the loyalty at the end of the day? Where who at the end of the day, who pays the price? The families, the wives, the girlfriends. And let's talk about what the things that's happened, and as far as when I say things that happen, as far as the body counts, and we sit there and try to look at things, in a different light. And where's the justice? I mean, one of these guys, his name's I don't even want to say it. I don't even want to like glorify these dudes because I don't have no beef, no animosity, nothing, man. But you can't give these guys that. I don't care where they're from. I don't care what clique they're from. Black, white, Mexican, whatever. just the gangs itself, because that's what they are. They're gangs. You can't even use the word organization, because is it really organization? All these gang leaders coming from different states, and all they're sitting there in the ADX and the feds, in California or, Arizona, whatever state you're from, sit in the state, all you're doing is just manipulating, corrupting. They talk about the peoples, the raza. At the end of the day, the raza, come on, man, it's not about the raza, it's about themselves. Greed, envious, and uh, a lot of guys, these young people, man, they get caught up, and it's all, it's being prideful. And pride, it don't get you nowhere, man. There's a difference. Like I think I've said this before about pride. There's a difference between, pride. Prideful when you want to hold your nuts, because you're fighting the case or you're running with the fellas, or oh, I'm that machismo, that pride. Okay, that's hogwash. Then you got the other pride, to be proud of, being on the streets, or even if you're in prison and you got loved ones looking out for you. You know, being prideful is when your kid is, you're taking them the first day of school. You know what I mean? Be proud of that. That's pride. You're seeing your kids growing up. And like, it's just it's unfortunate, man. It's really sad to me. And I don't know what else I can say to you guys. I got a bullet in my head. And I gotta live it for the rest of my life. But because of all this nonsense, it's same shit, different smell. And at the end of the day, for what? There's still it's still going on, but it's up to you guys. You know what I mean? The youth, to try to change that, man. And then it goes with the parents too. You know what I mean? I've been seeing a lot of stuff, cricket, out here, man. I mean, I'm seeing these people promoting stuff. I mean, to little kids. I seen kids with bandanas in their head. Little kids, bro. With different logos, and it's like, is that what you're teaching your kids? Is that something to be proud of? Because at the end of the day, what you're promoting, next thing you know, when your kids in juvenile hall, then what? You know what I mean? And then
Let
what
me
about these other? Go ahead, bro.
let me ask you something, bro. So I know one of the big things that we get as so-called, dropouts y la madre, is a lot of people like to say you knew what you were getting yourself into, right?
Hmm.
So I always have a response, but let me ask you: did you know, like, what were the circumstances as far as you, as a youngster, looking up to these vatos and aspiring to be parte? Um, was it? I mean, did you know what you were getting yourself into?
You know what? I take full responsibility for my actions. Of course I did. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
But the thing is, you know, here's the thing: the more you get deeper and deeper in the politics, man, it's just a lot of corruption, man. There's just one objective, and the higher you get, if you got a position, you'll be all right. But at the end of the day, man, yeah, I knew, you know what I mean. But
Yeah.
for me, the more I got deeper into it, there's that word again. I was prideful. I was already too deep into it, and I didn't. I was like, I already see what's going on, but I'm already in it. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's like, well, you know what? I might as well go all the way. Because I would have went all the way.
Can I say something? I don't mean to interrupt, but
Sure,
I
sure.
think that there's some people that when they say you knew what you were getting yourself into, some people don't really know what they're getting themselves into until they're in. You could just be helping out, or you could just be, the guy that they run to for this or that, or like, what do you call that word? Like, when you have your like people on the street.
The secretary, the schema.
No, there you go. Like they could just be, just trying to make a couple bucks. That's their lifestyle. They just think, oh, I'm just a little gang member. Or I'm just making a few bucks. I'm not. They don't know sometimes. I don't think how deep it can get until it gets deep.
Oh yeah, well, and that's what I was trying to explain. Also, it's like, hey, when I was already too deep into it, you know what I mean? And what
Yeah,
what kept me going was my pride,
yeah.
and
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 I've
and
said that too. Like coming up, I looked up to these vatos and thought it was gonna be, a familia, a carnalismo, a mafia. We're gonna, there's, it was supposed to be good, right? And then there was the so-called causa that was out there that no one can ever define, right? Um, but then once you get in it and you see the internal politics, the cannibalism that happens, and all that, then I think we, like you said, we become prideful and we don't think it's going to happen to us. We think we can play the game better than the next man, and we get caught up in that whole mess. You know what I mean? And it changes. It's not what we thought it was, but now here we are and we're in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
yeah, the it's like playing chess. It's like who's gonna outplay who. You know what I mean? And
I
like
think some people know what it is. I think they know what it is, and they actually go in, with, in their head knowing I could die tomorrow or I can kill somebody tomorrow. Like, I think some of them really do know. And then there's some that are just blinded, like, like Manuel said, oh, it can never happen to me, or I'm good. You know what I mean? So and so brought me in. I'm good. I do what I need to do. And that's just how it is. And then you, like you said, you have your friends that they work for you and they're like, oh, I'm just working with this dude making extra money on the side. And then if he messes up, there goes his life because he, you know what I mean?
no,
It
you're
just,
absolutely right.
um, and I think it's just also by being young and by being naive. A lot of these kids have never been told or taught. Like I said, when I was going to the jail to see Emmanuel, I was 18 years old. And, when I didn't think I was going to ever see him again because of our first visit didn't go right. I mean, there's 40-year-old women in the elevator saying, don't worry, there's someone else. Instead of saying to me, why are you talking to somebody in jail? And why are you talking to that guy? I know if, 40 years old right now, if I saw an 18-year-old girl doing that, I would definitely tell her, regardless if she listened to me or not, just so that it's in her head. And it's not like my mom could tell me because my mom would tell me that, but she didn't know I was hiding it behind her back. She didn't know till after I was pregnant.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you have these people that are in their 40s that are still with like that messed up childish mentality, you know? It's sad. It's kind of tough.
40, you're talking about 50s and 60s.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
So
think
I know a lot of people say, oh, you know what you're getting yourself into. Like, you do, but you don't. I
yeah.
really believe that a lot of them don't. They just don't.
Well, I mean, yeah, and I think that's the issue. I think the problem is what is now becoming a little more open used to be whispered about, the politics, the backstabbing. Um, Now it seems everybody's talking about it, but before you didn't want to get caught talking like that. You know what I mean? There was whispers and shit, and and I think now I think that it's a little more open, and I think it's for good reason. I think people are opening their eyes to what it is, and it's, if you look at it and you see it, it's Arizona, it's California, it's Ohio, it's freaking New York. It doesn't matter what clica. These they all have the same type of individuals made up in these clicas, and for the most part, they're usually egotistical, greedy ass vatos. It is what it is, and they call each other carnales and all that because most of them come from broken homes, and that's the good propaganda to to bring people in. But at the end of the day, they definitely aren't treating each other that way, and but somehow they've convinced a lot of people that there is some kind of cause. Let me ask you this, Chango, because I don't know much uh, about California in general. So I hear about this Norteno struggle. Is that something that is first of all, was that ever valid? And if it was, is it still today?
When you say the Norteño struggle, as far as like the lucha, meaning the cause.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So
Well, just
here
look,
recently, just from what I heard, here recently that that Vato, can't think of the name, but put out the TikTok, and I heard people,
okay, okay,
you know,
yes, okay. Look, okay, I'm glad you brought that up. That individual, right?
yeah,
You know, he's a high-ranking member and the Nuestra Familia, and he's always been, he's always been behind the scenes. You know what I mean? There's always been controversy with him in the state. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And yeah, he moves the crowd. But he ain't no different. He's a tecato. When you say the lucha, the struggle, as far as being a northern, he's talking about. You know what I mean? He's basically pushing it. And what's crazy is that that TikTok thing, man. I mean, there's a lot of people don't know, but like my story gets deep, man. As far as the treachery, man. That chick TikTok, that filter that's coming out,
yeah,
is coming from my ex-wife. At that,
yeah,
you know what I mean? She's the one that, if you look on the TikTok, you know, it came from from the ADX. However they did it, got it on there. You know what I mean? To the letter. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And when you say that, is what he's promoting to all Northerns, actually all Familianos. Just and to push a line, to keep pushing forward. You know what I mean? It's easy for him to say that because he's in a box. You know
yeah,
what I mean? So he's gonna do. That's the second message that he shot out. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And he he's greedy, and he don't care about the raza. He's gonna, like I said, he's gonna use all them fancy words. Use manipulation. And try to captivate. But if you look at all the numbers, all the comments, and like you said earlier, about people are opening their eyes, like you said before, bro. Yeah, it was a hush hush thing. You know, People say, "Oh, it was all good back then." It doesn't. What clique you was from? They dudes were getting dropped. You know what I mean? It wasn't out there. Oh, what happened to homeboy? Oh, I don't know. That's how it was. But why did he get hit? Oh, he messed up. Oh, he did this. But did he really mess up? There's always that behind the scenes.
yep,
Majority of all the hits that happen, and I can't say for other states, but mostly all the hits that happen in prison and on the streets they could have been avoided. Like you said, what happened to the canalismo? What happened to the love? The unity and all that other stuff they talk about, all that they push. So what he's talking about is he's promoting to stand up. Because I read it. You know what I mean? And I know the guy, and he's sitting there back there. What can he do? He's gonna do whatever he can. And I'm really glad, to be honest with you guys, that if you look out in comments, and you got that other guy that I don't know his name, Jay something. He put something out there. And I like the way he broke it down. And I'm glad that a lot of people opened their eyes, because there was you had a couple people that are on the bad side. When I mean the bad side, with them bottles, you know what I mean?
yeah,
You can say, hey, you know what? Oh yeah, well, that I'm bitter, I'm this, I'm that, or whatever. No, why am I going to be mad? Why am I going to be bitter? I'm out here. I'm alive. I'm healthy. You know, you, it's like it is what it is. You see what I send you, bro. We
yeah,
talk about. It's like, look, I ain't complaining about nothing. No, I'm not bitter. I'm not mad. I want to show you guys that, look, if it happened to me, it happened to Joe Blow, it happened to this vato. And it's the same shit, different smell, man. And look at your situation, bro. Look what they try to do to your girl, man.
mm,
Well, I mean, was it necessary? At the end of the day, where's the justice there? look, I don't know your rules and regulations, but I know enough that in any clica, you're not even supposed to be touching a homeboy's wife or girl.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'd say that was a little messed up.
Huh?
I think that was a little uncalled for, you know?
As far as no, I'm saying that's the way it's supposed to be, supposedly.
Yeah.
But I'm
Yeah.
saying that's not what's happening though. It comes to show you the individuals how they sit there and they don't care. And it goes back what I'm trying to say. I'm just to let you guys know, I'm not backing none of them dudes. I'm trying to show that where's the justice then? Where is the unity? What all this crap they talk about that they promote? They're doing half-ass backwards at the
Yeah.
end of the day.
Well, and it's funny how you said that they say, oh, you know, it was better back in the day or it's better now or whatever. When is being in a prison gang or being in any gang or any organized crime better? When is it? It's never going to be better.
Well,
That
yeah.
doesn't make any sense, you know, like,
The thing is and that you're right. Like one of the things is that people pretend like they have nostalgia, and it used to be that a causa. It used to be these vatos had integrity and things are changing, but it's bullshit. It's always been the same. They've all been tecatos since they got locked up, probably for a crime to get high. It just it is what in the beginning. What I laugh about is all these so-called rules and regulations didn't start getting put out there until they were all locked down and they couldn't do it anymore. Prior to that, they were all messing with Chirolines. They were all getting high. None of them were doing machina. I mean, they had workouts and stuff, but it wasn't what it became once they were in the oil and they couldn't imbibe anymore. So now they started implementing all these reglas and making everybody else fall in line and pretending like they were above all that stuff. And if you talk to people today, it's almost like no one remembers what these bottles were like. Well, most of them don't know what they were like when they were on the yardas. And it was never a different time or a better time. Maybe, I mean, some clicas are different than others. Okay, maybe the NF started out of trying to defend themselves from the Yemen, but that was a very short time. After that, they separated.
Mm-hmm.
After once they separated them and they were on their own. I mean, the hits were within their own. There wasn't.
Yeah.
They were. There was
Listen, it's funny, man. It's funny you say that, man. I think every clica, every gang
no.
starts in good intentions. You know, I'm not
Yeah.
again, like you just said, like the Carnophagus, they started, good intentions. You guys
Mhm.
started, everybody started, the M, the AB, for the oppression of the people, the administration, like the BGF, about the with the cops and
Man.
the canines, whatever you want to call them, and but after, like you said, when they slammed everybody down, then there was internal confrontation. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
if you can look at with the NF, from the late '70s, '80s, '90s, it was the same thing, bro, and it wasn't about. And like you're right, all this it was in the same, like you said, nothing but tecatos. Remember,
Yeah.
I don't get high, bro, so it was easy for me to maneuver. Like I'll give you an example. Like you just talked about, uh, you know, the division and uh, it started good. I'll give you an example. There was a thing in the '90s in Pelican Bay, and I was there. I was involved in all of it, and they had these dilemmas, these issues, and Brown Bob, you know, was he had he was one of the at the end of the day he was the general, and he had a celly, he had a little squad, man. He had a lot of people. He had a lot of respect, and he ended up starting a thing to try to get everybody on the out of the main line, right? And the reason I'm bringing this up because I've never actually expressed it. I've heard people talk about certain things, and just to show you how scandalous people are, how these people are, how you know him and his Sally, old man, another old man, and um, they started promoting to try to get everybody on the line. Well, some homeboys wasn't with it, you know what I mean? But there was a lot of people, that was one of the reasons they try to, you know, say that he, they're going to find him treason, dealing with the enemy and this and that. But here we are in Pelican Bay. They got to cease fire in Pelican Bay. In other words, I'm in the pod. There's eight cells. Okay. There's NF members. There's uh, AB members, BGF, and there's a lot of uh, MM members. If a door pops, you're supposed to hold your ground. You're not supposed to get off on each other.
Yeah.
I'm like, what part of the game is that? Right? And it's like, okay, just following suit. Anyhow, it got to the point they green lighted BB. They kill him, right? And years later, that was in what, 98 when they hit him, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the ball started rolling in 96, 95, 96. It was already, there was a lot of stuff going on amongst, the the gang and the gang leaders. Well, then you go out in 2012. Well, the certain individuals do the same thing. And what do? They open the doors. They let everybody out on the main lines. What I'm getting at is, where's the justice there? There was a man that did his best to try to, get everybody out. Not just him, there was a group. And they could talk to the AMA, they talked to a lot of people, different fractions.
Mm-hmm.
But they take his life, and then to come to find out what, 6 years later, 7 years later, they open the doors. Where's the justice at? I don't know if I'm making sense to you.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
a lot of people don't understand, a lot of dudes know the politics in California, but some dudes don't. What I'm getting at, where's the justice there? And I'm not trying to I'm not picking BB's side. It's unfortunate, but I'll express this. You know, homegirl, you talk about. I knew what I was getting involved in, and even after that happened, even that,
I'm
even that
sorry.
after that happened to me, hey, I knew what I signed up for. So I was bitter. I was mad. Yeah, man, I was more hurt. Like, whoa, how could this? Like you said right now, earlier, how can this happen to me?
Yeah. Yeah.
And all I did was push a line. If people knew me, all I did was push a line that I was supposed to do. Hey, and I was very. I moved the crowd, man. A lot of people respected me, not because what I was, because of who I was as far as individual.
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with the gang itself. You know what I'm saying? Because I was very um how can I say it, charismatic,
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to say that, oh yeah, I was a crook just like everybody else, man. I
Yeah.
was doing bad things just like everybody else. I'm not trying to justify that. No, I was a crook. I did bad things. I did them. I'm guilty, blah blah blah. But what I'm trying to explain is that if this happened to me, it happened to you, Joe Blow and PP and Kiki and all them other dudes.
Choco and Loco.
Yeah, all that.
Choco Loco and Wookie and Spooky.
And that's what I'm, really
Yeah.
expressing, and
Yeah.
it's this. If you really look, when I look back at all that, and like you just said, bro, it's been going on. Everyone's getting high. When I was on the streets, bro, like I said, it was easy for me to maneuver because I didn't get high.
Yeah.
I didn't do drugs, bro. I didn't slam dope. I didn't do crank. Yeah, I sold drugs, but
Yeah.
I didn't use. And all these carnophagus,
Which
they're all
is
getting
rare.
high. Huh?
Which is rare.
Yeah, as far as what, homeboy getting high?
Carnales, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't get high, bro. and everybody knows that, you know.
Yeah.
And
So two questions real quick. Ernie
sure,
Alvarez said good intentions with question marks. And I think he's because he said the clica started with good intentions. They're still obviously criminal organizations, but I think what Chango's talking about is good intentions as far as protection amongst their own in the pinta. I mean, regardless, they're obviously criminal organizations, but the good intentions with bad intentions. You know what I'm saying? But I think they didn't start out to be cannibalistic, take out your own type of fools, which the politicking. I mean, no politicking is in the reglas in most of these clicas, and fucking politicking is supposed to be punishable by death, and they all do it. Um, so I think that's what he was talking about with good intentions.
as far, well, I'm gonna go deeper into the problem and see if you can agree with me on this. I'm not asking for a cosign or a homegirl, and the reason I'm bringing you up is because you're a square from Delaware, right?
Yeah,
For you wasn't involved in nothing. I mean, you were just following suit with your dude. You know what I mean? Because when
I
I
was
hear you
just in
talk,
love with my boyfriend. I
then no,
mean,
exactly. No, this is what I'm gonna get at. Like you just said right now, and homeboy had that question about good intention. When you look back, right? I'm pretty sure you see if you can agree with me on this too, Cricket. Okay, before you got involved, right? Going to prison, you already, or myself, as a young man, when I was a kid, you know, I was being prepared to be a better crook.
yeah,
That's all. Because when they say look back, I was already a bad kid. I was already a crook.
yeah,
You know, when you look back, coming from your neighborhood, gang banging, or whatever you were doing, you know what I mean? Unless you were just green, coming to the county jail, fine. But let's go back. I was already, whether you were stealing cars, you know, writing on walls, whatever.
yeah,
You're part of the homies. You know what I mean? You're considered a northern. Doesn't matter what neighborhood from, Northern California.
yeah,
Everyone's flamed up, wearing red bandanas, gear, and gear, whatever. You're promoting still. The only thing is you're still a crook. You're still selling drugs. You're still, stealing, robbing, whatever you were doing.
yeah.
So all you were doing was you were just getting prepped as a young man.
Yeah, the
And when you, I
propaganda
don't,
starts early.
what's that, bro?
I said, yeah, the propaganda starts early.
Yeah. So when you really think about it, the only thing is you just go on a higher level of
Yeah,
the politics. You know what I mean?
yeah, and that's one of the things that irritates me um now because I remember as a kid what made me look up to these vatos was a lot of you would hear the veteranos tell the war stories and all the stuff in the pinta, and you were like, damn man, I wanna do that. I wanna do better. I want these vatos to end up talking about me like that, right? All that shit, right? And then you hear these adults calling these fools legends and those type of words, and that's why I've made a video before where I said words matter. That's why I'm so critical of that, because as adults we can obviously put that to the side and say, yeah, okay, I know what he's saying when he says that, but a kid can't think that way. All they think is somehow these vatos are to be admired and to aspire to be one. You know what I mean? And so it starts at such an early age, and like you said, you're getting prepped for it, from the beginning,
Right.
and we go full force headed that route because we think that we're going into something greater than ourselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What's the name has homie hangout? What's up, homie? How you
Yeah, I
doing?
put it right there.
Yeah. He said the state. What did he say? Tried to say the end of the hostilities was extended. Well, to a certain extent, bro, because I was there. Again, I just explained that you're aware of a lot of situations, homie, and you're real knowledgeable. And I was there when all that happened in Pelican Bay. You know what I'm saying? The doors, stand your ground, don't get involved, blah blah blah. Because remember, there was a lot of drugs coming in, also. So they were hitting like crazy, and with the carga, with the heroin,
Yeah.
all the fractions, and but do I agree to it? I mean, what they did now, I mean, what's the difference? They were trying to do it then, but come to show you, where's the justice there? How come they didn't do it then? They didn't do it because all in the same players. I mean, even though Brass left, you still had other, people that took those positions.
Yeah.
Whether people say, "Oh, well, he's no good," or "I didn't like him, I didn't like that." Guess what? At the end of the day, you were right there swinging. You had the look at. I'm gonna tell you something, bro. Because I've heard people talk for a long time, bro, about this individual. Okay, it's all about a popularity contest. And like, oh, I don't like this homeboy. I don't like this guy. But there they are, right there with that guy.
Yeah.
Whether they're scared, they had a choice. You know what I mean? Walk away. Say no. Yeah, there's gonna be consequences to that. But hey, let them swing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like I said, it's a sad affair. But I don't know if I answered homeboy's question. This thing. I mean, what they got going on, there ain't nothing changed, man. Same shit, different
Yeah.
style. You got a different generation. All it's never gonna
And,
stop, man.
and the thing that people need to realize is don't for a second think that this end of hostilities thing is somehow being done because they're trying to do something good for the raza and keep people together and stop fighting. It's just good for business. It keeps them on track. They're out on the yard, keeps them on the yard because as soon as the yard pops, they're the ones that get locked down. So they don't want that happening. And it keeps business rolling. They got carga coming in, they got money going out, they got now they can intermingle and work on different turfs. And I mean for you're naive if you think that this is being done because they just wanted raza to stop getting hit. If anything, if you see what's happening, there's more people getting whacked on these yardas now.
Yeah, all they
Just
all they did was open the doors to clean house
that's it.
on
Yeah.
all fractions, and then they talk like you said about for business. Everyone all they want to do is trying to get high, bro.
Yeah.
At
That's
the end
it.
of the day, that's all it is. So again, like I've talked about, in the past about finances. You know what I mean? You know, I was in a position where at the time I knew a lot of stuff that was going on. Because I was in the mix with a lot of dudes from Pelican Bay. Brass and so forth. When I say brass, high, the big dogs or whatever you want to call them. I don't even know what word to use. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. The gang leaders,
Yeah.
and the money's going places doing this, but at the end of the day, a lot of people didn't know these guys are investing. That money is going to them. It ain't getting spread around to all the carnophagus.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
you hear about the cat 1, cat 2, cat 3s, and positions and so forth. Just a regular soldado. You're still part of the gang, but at the end of the day, you're getting other homeboys, just regular Northerns, or at the time, and our members, and doing all the dirty work,
Yeah.
and dudes are sucking it up, man, and they they sit there, and people don't realize that money that was going, it was just for them, their families. You wasn't getting it. Joe Blow again, PP and Chuku and all that wasn't getting it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? What happened to the banks that were established? There's a lot of banks, and all that money that's going. You hear these dudes talk. Look, whether they're telling the truth or not. Okay, let's say, for argument's sake, what if it is true? We hear all these dudes saying, "Oh, I was in the regiment. Uh, I was bringing $5,000 a month or a week or whatever. Okay, if you okay, just for argument's sake, you're pushing that. Okay, and you got this guy, you're taxing this dude. Well, here, let me phrase that. You're not taxing him. You're asking for contributions.
Uh,
You know, it's about wording things. You know what I mean? Because when you
Yeah,
come at a drug dealer or another homeboy or another neighborhood, you don't tell them, hey, we're blah blah blah, and we're gonna tax you. Nah, hey, what's up, homie? Get on that. You know, you pro. You know, you want to, kick down a little bit for me, bro.
yeah.
You know,
Contribute to the
yeah,
cause.
exactly. You don't even want to use the cause. There's certain words you don't want to use because I'm gonna tell you something. Like with us over there, there's been a lot of bloodshed, bro, and there's a lot of people that were leery. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
People that were pushing weight. There's a lot of these dudes that the drug dealers. You know what I mean? That
yeah,
they wasn't involved, but they were contributing, not because they were scared. They were just looking out for this person, at a player price. They're not just giving them
yeah,
stuff. You're getting a player price. It depends on what you were getting. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, a lot of people didn't know that these are investing for themselves, for all the big guys. You
yeah,
know what I mean? The top leaders. Because there was homeboys that were catching cases, and oh yeah, a lawyer's coming. A lawyer's coming. Where's the lawyer at? You're part. You're part of what you're part of it. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And you're not even being blessed, or not even going, hey, here's a couple dollars for your old lady, or here's a couple dollars for your kids. You know what I mean? If you're in
yeah,
the mix, okay, fine. You know?
yeah, yeah. It's just again, it's nothing that is thrown out there is true, and that's the main point. It's like these kids or young adults even are following a path that is inevitably gonna be their demise. You know what I'm saying? Because they're gonna turn on them. It happens to everybody. It just is what it is. I mean, you can look at every clica and see, like, yes, maybe a dude had a 30-year reign and he was a so-called general and he had all this palanca, but they still whacked him and left him in the floor dead like everybody else. You know what I mean? I think one of your guys, not you obviously, but uh, one of the NF higher ones got whacked in the feds not too long ago, right? That
Yeah,
everybody was,
Tibbs,
yeah.
Tiberius.
So I mean, it just it the these examples are, I mean, they're just out there. You can see them. They're continuous and they're prevalent. It's like it's happening all the time, and yet people somehow still drink the Kool-Aid and believe the bullshit. And I know a lot of it is fear, when you're on these yardas and you're following that path, and pride. I mean, like you said, a lot of it is pride. Um,
And there's
and
a lot of favoritism.
yeah, well, of course, that's from the beginning.
But
Um, but it's just sad that these kids aspire to be involved in this shit and they have no idea what they're headed to. You know, um, and what's even worse is that you have people that do know better for whatever reason. A lot of the time, I think it's because they're just trying to sound tough, telling these freaking stories that get these kids to have stars in their eyes. You know what I mean? And it's just tagacho el pedo that when you're just throwing away these. I mean, look at the situation now. Like, you're hearing these stories, and I know a lot of these stories that we're hearing, some of them don't make sense. So I'm sure that a lot of them are I'm sure a lot of them are a little bit exaggerated and fabricated. Some of the stuff just doesn't wash when you listen to it if you know better. But nevertheless, even if half of that stuff is true, I mean, look how so they're start. I mean, if you get visits, your gente have to bring clavo, or you can't get visits no more. Like, all them type of things right there is that's straight up bullying and bulldogging the gente. Supposedly what they don't do, you know.
What's him call it? The homie hangout had a question about no,
Yeah.
that was for everybody, for the AMIT, the ANF, the AB, anybody in the whatchamacallit.
Yeah,
And
wasn't that door policy? Didn't that come into effect because they got tired of being used by the placas, right?
no, what they were trying to do is, again, see what they let all these dudes out in 2012 or 2011, whatever. The ball was already rolling in the 90s. Individual, like I said, there was individuals, you know, uh, trying to do the same thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they canned a lot of dudes. You know what I mean? Because of it.
Oh,
And a lot of people. There was a little like this, a little power struggle in between. You know what I mean? And at the same time, there was other stuff going on, undermining, backstabbing. You know what I mean? Like when they hit MC. You know what I mean? Mike Castillo from Salinas.
yeah,
Remember all these dudes that they hit were high-ranking members, man.
yeah,
You know, and if it come to show you, you can't justify that. I mean, you sit there and if they're hitting their own high-ranking members, what do you think they're going to do to the little guys?
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
and it's treachery, man. Like I said, you don't realize what you're getting involved into. Some guys did, some guys didn't. You know what I mean? Because they're glorifying it. You know what I mean? Growing up as kids. You know what I mean? Being a northern. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of homeboys that didn't get involved in the politics. They went to the county jail, they went to prison, and didn't. But they're participating in the North and South.
yeah,
So what is the difference? Because you're still representing the North.
yeah.
It's not just about these gang leaders, these gangs, just this North and South, all that. You know, and
Well, I think it's all dangerous, whether you join a prison gang or you're just in a street gang or you try to act like you're in a street gang. I think it's all bad. I think the promoting of it is just horrible for the children. Like you said earlier, you saw for yourself, mothers dressing their kids with little bandana rags and things like that. I see that all the time on Instagram where, little 2-year-old has a Charlie Brown shirt on and little button up shirts and the hat. Like, really, he chose to wear that? He's like 3.
Yeah.
He's into, Paw Patrol or something. He's not into that kind of stuff. You're dressing him like that because you want to. And honestly, I feel like I think that's child abuse. I don't like it. I think it's disgusting. And I don't care if anybody gets mad that I say that.
no, you know what? I agree with you. There's a lot of, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of good parents. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of moms. Because those are the ones that really suffer at the end of the day. The women. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, I don't care who it is. Some people just grow up in this. There's families that just, get involved from a young age. It's just a generation after
Yeah,
generation. You know
but
what I mean?
if the kid wants to dress like that when he gets older, then that's his choice.
No, I'm
But
saying I'm
for
trying to
for a
agree with you.
3-year-old or a 2-year-old to look like that, 2-year-olds and 3-year-olds don't really look like that.
Right.
They go through a phase.
Yeah,
They
but that's
dress
what
like that.
he's talking about the generations of gang families, kind of.
No, I'm not.
Oh,
I'm
like the
not.
parents.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying you're absolutely right. What you're saying. I'm not against what you're saying. When you see things, I see it too, and I'm kind of disgusted. You know what I mean? Like, what's going on here? Like,
And
that's
and
what I'm
I
getting
think
at.
they try. I think they try to say, "Oh, that's our culture, and that's just what we are, and that's what we do." And I'm like, okay, for you,
Give
but
him my
not your
number,
3 or
Cricket.
4-year-old. You know?
Yeah, I caught that, Cricket. Tell him to give him my number.
Okay.
You know. Yeah, but he talked to he brought up Tibbs right now. And like you said, he was already sick, and they hit him. And when I look back, there was a big controversy. There was a guy named Cuete. he started all this, all this stuff with the indictment. They try to say because Charlie and this guy telling this guy, but at the end of the day, man, okay, they did what they did, but they demoted this man. You guys don't know this, right? Well, maybe a lot of people know, man, but as far as you, homegirl, this is how sad this is.
That's that
Quick, you know a little bit, but Tibbs,
Rubical, right?
huh?
Cuete Rubical or some shit like that.
Exactly. Now, when the indictment happened, everyone's scrabbling, trying to figure out what. Well, you guys do. You got guys copping to, I did this, I did that. So they're throwing things under the rug. But Cuete got demoted because he was a Cat 3. He got demoted to a Cat 1, right? And he was never hold a position again. Okay. Years later, everyone goes to the feds, and at the end of the day, he should have got hit. So that showed the favoritism, because he did a lot of stuff that he shouldn't have done. You know what I mean? And if you want to get, you made a comment the other a while back, homegirl, about when someone tries to put a green light or hit you, where's the justice there? I mean, should something happen to them? Well, that's what should have happened to him, because he brought out Charlie. He brought, he was right there with, and he started a bunch of stuff. But what I'm getting at about Tibbs, Tiberius, he was there pushing the line, and then who kills him? Who hits him? Maybe someone else would have hit him. Cuete hits him.
Yeah.
20 something, 20 years later, 18 years later, whatever, And what I'm trying to get at is, if they would have took care of what they had to take care of then, maybe that wouldn't happen to Tibbs. But there's a lot of stuff that I'm aware of that a lot of people ain't, and that there was more behind to it. But what I'm getting at is, where's the justice there?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to justify Cuete's. He got demoted. He should have got hit at the end of it by policy, if you want to go by the gang rules. You know what I'm saying? But they gave him a pass. He got demoted and he should have got hit. But then look at later on, because of that example, he's the one that hits Tibbs.
Yeah.
There was no reason to hit that man. He was already dying, man. He was in a wheelchair.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you see, he was in a wheelchair. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that just brings us
Yeah.
back to that
just like Conejo. You know what I mean? I know James Perez. You know what I mean? I know I know all them cats. But yeah.
And again, that brings us back to that same point. Like, you fucking, he gave his life for that clica, and in the end, sitting in a wheelchair, they fucking stab him to death. You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
Not even orale, thank you for your service. We're gonna let you die quietly, but you're no longer part of this because you fucked up or whatever, right? You know what I mean? Like, instead, they want to put steel in them, and it's just what this clique, all of this is about. Every clique does that. That's just what it is. If they're bullies, man. They're bloodthirsty ass vatos, and they look for reasons to whack fools. That's the bottom line, and the politics is an excuse for that as well. It's crazy, man. I mean, shit. Well, we've talked. I was gonna say I'm lucky, but not lucky. But I know a
Grateful,
little bit.
blessed.
I'm a little more. I know a little more than most from like Arizona, because I happen to be in the feds with a bunch of
I got you.
from different places. So I had heard a lot of a lot of this stuff, and you and I had conversations. I had Weasel, um, Big Dave, all that, and
Right.
and the thing is, they used to tell me just all of these things, and it was like the same. It was identical to the shit that happened in our state. You know what I mean? Just different cast of characters, but the
No,
same
listen, bro. You're absolutely right.
shit.
Hey, your state, California. Hey, let's talk about Texas.
Yeah.
Those are the main three because there's a lot of raza coming out of there. The different clicas that come out of there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The
It's just
TS.
yeah.
And then you got these other clicas coming. Like the MS-13. All these other clicas.
Yeah.
Just like I said, it's the same thing. Like me and you used to talk. It's like, oh man, that happened to you, bro.
Yeah.
What the hell? That happened to me too. Like,
Yeah.
what's your story, homie? And then we could talk about the mob.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
Tally mob.
Yeah.
It's the
I was
same thing, bro. You hear the story, just like, some dudes got hit and they lived. Some dudes are in the dirt.
yeah.
You know.
I here recently I was on another channel checking out. You remember my Celly Dom?
Yes. Yes.
And I was commenting, and someone from here that comes, our chat, one of our subscribers that comes a lot. He was over there, and he was like, "Hey, Dom," and I remember talking to Dom about their house, and it was the same shit. You know what I mean? They theirs is a little, they're a little more fancier, but it's the same, dog eat dog shit. You know what I mean? Like it's all betrayal and backstabbing and all the way to the top. If you look at the history of even the Italianos, I mean, them fools will give their vida for that holiday, live their whole life for that, and in the end, same thing. They're taken out, and that's the thanks they get. You know what I mean? That's just what these clicas are all about at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And people need to open their eyes. I mean, if you're willing to take that chance, play that game, and try to be more treacherous than the next man, then more power to you. You know what I'm saying? Do what you got to do.
Hey, because
If
it all
you're,
comes from the same military handbook and all them books.
yeah,
The Book
all
of
the
Five
power.
Rings. The Machiavelli.
Yeah,
All them. All them books, man. And that's all they're doing. You know. But you're right, bro. It's just. What do you think, homegirl? What do you think about all this? You know. I like to hear your thing. I mean, it's not your story, but you know, you're real quiet. I didn't expect you to be this quiet. I've been
I know
hearing you
I'm
for
just listening and observing, and I
right.
just think I think it's all wrong. I think prison gangs, outside gangs, any type of gang that is gonna lead somebody the wrong way or is gonna eventually, hurt or harm somebody. It's just not a good clique. It's not a good gang. It's just all bad.
yeah,
Hey,
and
bro, and then it's funny about them books. You got this dude Green now. All he did was get all them books and put it in one book and make it easier. You know what I mean?
yeah, Robert Greene.
Yeah.
You know, it,
48 laws of power.
You know
yeah,
what though? I think is what's more hurtful to the people is when you do get people that did all this time in prison, they walked away or did whatever they did. I think they're more the dangerous ones when they do go on YouTube or they are on the streets still acting tough and still acting bad and still talking about I was this and I was that and who I used to be. When they start, that mentality of theirs still hasn't changed, even though they walked away and even though they got turned on. And I feel
Yeah.
like they're dangerous also to society.
yeah, yeah. I mean, the unfortunate thing is we all know that the 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 recruitment pool comes from these broken kids, and that's what's got you about it. The kids are looking for some kind of familia, some kind of
Looking mad.
acceptance.
No, I think it's worse though when like if you were to come on here night after night and somebody was trying to fight you and who I used to be and who I was and I'm about that and I'm about the business. And like, if you were to act like that every night after walking away and after them, turning their backs on you and trying to do what they did to me, if you came on night after night acting like that, I feel like those are the worst type of people.
Yeah.
To me, they're number one, like on being the worst. Then, because you're gonna have prison gangs and street gangs that they act like that. But if you get somebody that is done with that life supposedly, but then still wants to be part of that life and still acts like that, that's kind of messed up because now you're
You're
confusing
no
the kid.
different.
No,
You're
and
no
now you're
different.
confusing the
You're
kid,
promoting.
Exactly. It's still promoting.
Yeah.
You're telling this kid, don't go down the way I was, but then, your next live or your next video that you put out, okay, I'm gonna react to this, or I could do this, or I was about this, and just going off. It's kind of
Yeah.
it's sick because it's like, are you really done? Then be done, because they're like the worst type of promoters for kids.
It's I talk to certain people and it's like, you got the platform. You know what I'm saying? And it's a wrap for you. But like, I think I talked about this the other day on one of these lives, and you can't have 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
Oh, they do though. But they play
And I'm
both
gonna tell
sides of the fence though. They do
you know,
though.
and
And those are the worst ones in
here's
my
another thing too. Okay, after you're done, right? After you're done, okay, now what are you gonna do with yourself? Because I've said this before. There's other things for you to do. I mean, for you to sit here and look at things in a bigger perspective. As far as this, okay, you're done. Now, what are you gonna do? And it's important for you to get involved in classes. Therapy. I mean, we talked about this before. It's not for everybody. I'm just saying it's good to talk. You said you have a good support system. You have to get a good support system because as far as a gang member, you're traumatized after you're gone. You're broken. You remember you only knew one thing is selling drugs, murder, you know, whatever it is, robbing. You after that, what do you got to do? You got to do that 9 to 5. You got to reestablish your mentality. You know what I mean? Like I said, there's no such thing as 1 foot in, 1 foot out. You're
A
done.
lot of them though. They play both sides of the fence, and that's what's scary because they do have platforms. They are on YouTube, they are on TikTok, and kids look at that and say, "Oh, he got to do all this, and he's still a gang member. He's still on here acting up. He's still on here, acting tough," and that's scary. If you're out, then you're out. You can't play both sides of the fence, and that's what really irks me. Okay, if you're going to be a gang member, then go be a gang member. Go all the way, ruin your life, whatever. But if you say that you're done, then be done. And
Yeah.
it's just unfortunately they're not. They're still throwing up their gang signs, on their videos and TikToks and YouTube, and trying to be bad or whatever. Like, let it go. It's over. It's
Yeah.
done. Find your own way now.
Yeah. Well,
Right.
But they
unfortunately,
just don't want to. And it's even more sad because they're not going to change because they're already in their 40s and 50s. So there's no changing that mentality.
yeah. Well, I mean, there's nothing you can do about that, but
No, it's just kind of scary when a kid, it's everything's access to their fingertips.
But
yeah.
yeah, exactly. I was gonna say it's not just this individuals that are promoting that stuff that are done, just in general the technology. Like you said, doesn't matter all this TikTok, all this YouTube, all this stuff. People are just like, you know what I mean? I've seen it. People sit there for hours on that phone,
Yeah.
and so I've
One of
seen.
the things that I think, and I've talked about it before, and I think that most of us know it. I think we have a responsibility to ensure that we're not hurting what we say we're against, right? Or I mean, hurting. Here's my thing. This vato puts out that filter, right? This little note on TikTok, and then people get it on YouTube and start talking about it. I mean, you just became his communication network. You know what I'm saying? I think
Right.
people need to be careful about stuff like that too. I get it. People want to make money. They want
Yeah,
views.
it's about the views. Yeah, I
Yeah.
understand that. Yeah.
But remember if you're truly doing this for what you say you're doing this for, then sometimes you just gotta pass on the views, bro. And if you want to talk about it in a roundabout way where us adults in the room can understand it, but not paste it on your fucking channel and let everybody see it, then you can do that. There can be a conversation, but when I see that, I'm just like, damn, man, you vatos not see or understand what you're doing. I mean, it like you're literally passing on the mensaje, and yeah, man, it's all bad when it becomes like that. But that's a whole nother that's a whole nother conversation, I guess, that we can have. But in general, I think we just even as with these platforms that we have, we need to remember that we have a responsibility to not lead these kids wrong with. We have to remember how we thought when we were kids, right? It's easy to sit here and as an adult and say, well, I'm going to tell this story, but no one would ever want to do this shit because fuck, who's going to throw their life away, go to prison, deal with this, lose everything? As an adult, you can think like that. Kids don't think like that. They don't think that far ahead. So when you tell those war stories to them, they're seeing something different than you do as an adult. And that's one of the gripes that I've had, from the beginning with this, that I think that, we're responsible here. We have to make sure that we're not becoming part of the propaganda machine. It's sad. It's
When I
fucked
see
up.
it and I look at it and I'm like, oh my God, I hope my nieces and nephews never run across these people's channels or TikToks or whatever
No,
when
you know
I'm
what?
not looking, or you know what I mean? I hope they never run across those channels and get the
You
wrong
know,
idea. You
but
know
you
what
know
I
what?
mean?
Uh,
I wouldn't leave my kids with half of those people on the internet that talk
but you know
about
what?
that.
It starts with the parents. I'll give you an example. I got a couple loved ones, right? They're young, and they're in their teens, they're teenagers, and they're so caught up in this phone, watching this, watching that, and there's no guidance from a lot of these parents. I'm not saying all of them, but you know, one of my loved ones, like, you know, I don't talk about anything, and he'd be like, oh well, let's talk about this. All he wants to know is about stuff that is irrelevant. And I tell him, hey, you got a choice. I mean, he's not even involved in nothing. He's not even a gang member, nothing. He's a good kid. He goes to school. He's an athlete, all that. But he's getting a lot of this stuff from uh, the phone. The internet. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? And even though I do my best to 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 guide him, I'm just giving an example. But sometimes he's like, oh man, he wants to know about all the bad stuff. He's just intrigued. Now, is he going
Yeah.
to make a choice? No, he just wants to know. But why would you want to know if you're a star at your school? You got yourself a nice young girlfriend. Why would you want to know about none of that? What do you
But
what?
you know what though? I don't think it would be so bad because when Manuel got out, he told my son why he was in there and why it was a bad idea, and
Mhm.
telling him how he should stay away from that stuff, and how we would never let our son go down that road. And my son was just like, okay, he just has that knowledge to know. Sometimes they're just interested in it. You know, it could be just wanting to know,
Man, no, that's what I'm saying.
not because he might do anything bad with it.
Right, just common knowledge, yeah. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that it's tough when you see TikTok and YouTube, and the person starts off with, hey mi gente and my raza, and then they're on there acting like fools, and then they're on there acting like they're still gang banging, and throwing up gang signs, and they're like, oh, what are you doing? Like, I hope my kid never comes across your channel. I would never leave my kid with half of those people. I would never trust my kid with half of those people. Like, you ever hear that joke? Like, I'm not leaving my kid. I would never leave my kid at Michael Jackson's house because you know what's going to happen. Like, I would never want my kids to see half of these people on YouTube or TikTok. I just wouldn't. That's child abuse. You know
Well,
what I mean?
and I guess luckily for now anyway, our audience, when you look at the analytics, is usually not the kids. But what I worry about, um, and the reason I do it the way I do, and I don't do war stories and stuff like that, is because I
You do
intend,
sometimes, but in a different way.
yeah, I know, but I intend to go into these schools and these facilities and talk to these kids and hopefully get all of this off the ground. And in so doing, I'm sure that they will be Googling me and looking me up. And I wouldn't want them to go back and see me on here, you know, acting like a fucking idiot. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I try to make sure that I set the example. If someone comes on and disrespects me, calls me a bitch, wants to fight me, all that stuff, I first think of how I would want these kids to see me react to that, because what I'm asking them to do. You know, I mean, I'm telling these kids, listen, you don't want this life. You don't want to do this. Think of the consequences. But then the first time someone calls me a bitch, I'm gonna say, fuck you, puto, let's meet up. Let's, pull up. You know, it's hypocritical. Um, so I try to make sure that I'm, and I've changed my mentality. To be real, I don't have to think real hard in doing
A-
that.
And to some people, if you don't know, don't blame him. He's still learning. He didn't have any good home training. Um, and then when he did go to prison, well, there were like animals in there. So I mean, not all, but most of them. So it's not his fault. I'm trying to. It's been 8 years, and he's improved a lot. So
Shut your bitch
excuse
ass.
him.
And I'm proud of you, Cricket. But no, but you're right, homegirl. It starts with ourselves. You know what I mean?
But you know
And
what's
like you
more
said,
crazy is sometimes when I see like on TikTok and YouTube and stuff like that is when the women are on there, and they're kind of like gang banging and talking like that. And I'm like, oh my God, where's your kids? Or like, you have kids? Like, I don't know. I feel embarrassed for them and they just are like okay with it. And I'm
Yeah,
just like, oh my God, this is so cringy. It's like, it's so sad to watch because the kid doesn't even need to go to YouTube or TikTok. They have it right there with the parent. That's even more messed up.
yeah, yeah.
It's sad. It's a sad
That's what,
situation.
I mean, that's one of the biggest things. I mean, it starts at the home. We all know that. I mean,
exactly.
uh, that is absolutely the if you want to find the solution to this, it's in the house. The
And
problem
I
is,
I get it though that there's some parents that do everything that they can and their parents are square and they try to do the best and the kid's gonna go
I
down
know,
that way. I
but
get it.
that's rare. But that is
That's
rare.
that's rare.
Yeah.
But if you
So
got a Choco Loco dad and a Choco Loco mom and they're dressing their kid like that at 3 years old, what do you think might happen?
Well, not
yeah, of
only that,
course.
they're in the mix.
They're in the mix,
they're.
exactly.
What I mean by that, they're
They're
also,
gonna
they're
repeat what their
abusing.
parents do, you know?
You're abusing drugs. Alcohol.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Not giving a lot of cariño to the kid. You
yeah,
know,
or just don't give a fuck.
right?
No guidance, no
There
kind
it
of,
is, right there, guidance.
yeah. And that's the biggest thing. And I think that's why, I mean, I know that it's a fairy tale world that sometimes I think I wish we had, but I think that's why a lot of us that have been there, done that, need to step up and do our best to guide these fools. These little kids, these at-risk youth that are on this path. If we can reach them, if we can get into these schools, if we can get into these facilities, then I think the next step after that is figuring out what would be the way to deter them. You know what I'm saying? And we know that what has been done over the years hasn't worked. You can't scare them straight, all of that. And so we need to try other things. One of the biggest, I think, is just being there. Just them having somebody that they can look up to and look to. You know what I'm saying? Like they can come to with any questions. They can, just someone in their life that that they can look up to. Right now, it's usually the veterano in the barrio or the so-called fucking legends that people want to call them. So they're that's what they're looking up to right now because that's what they see. And along with that comes the propaganda of it all. That's the problem. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I think that more and more eyes are being open to
Hey, real
what
quick,
it really
a homie
is.
hangout said,
Yeah, I caught
"Well,
that.
I
I was
already
waiting
have
for that.
the wedding invite, so I'm meeting the kid." Actually, Rascal, I wouldn't mind if my kid was little and I needed a babysitter. I wouldn't mind leaving him with you and your wife. You
Yeah.
guys are one of the channels that I would say I trust them with my kid.
You see what he said more down there?
What do you say?
He said, the upbringing and grand like your parents, meaning white fans,
Oh yeah, the way they did the best they did, but I was
Yeah.
18 at the time. I mean, I thought I was an adult, and I thought that I knew best, and I thought I knew everything, and I was 18 though. But even though I met Manuel though, and he was what he was, I didn't give my parents trouble like that. I didn't dress like that, act like that, get on drugs, join a gang. I didn't do all that. I didn't make them worry about me
Yeah, you're a
till
squirrel from
after
Delaware.
I met him, and then his friends want to kill me, but I mean, they didn't have to worry about me that way. And then once he got back locked up and kind of became a single mom, then, they worried about me, but they really didn't have to. I just threw myself into work and worked for my kid.
Yeah. And I think it's a little different. I mean, fuck, what were you gonna do? Pass this up? Come on.
Oh my God.
Mm, mm, mm. Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
Chango
Go
had
ahead, preach, homegirl, preach. I want to hear.
Chango had me for years.
Oh,
And I didn't complain about nothing.
And
You know
I'm so done.
what do you mean?
I
How?
we we ate out the same pint of ice cream every week.
Mm, mm, mm. You know, he's like, hey, where's it? The checks in the mail. The checks in the mail. But we don't want to talk about that. You know what I mean? But I was talking to somebody the other day about you, homegirl, on how I didn't tell him your story. I talked about how did everything you could. I mean, as far as under the circumstances, and you're a good woman. That's what I was basically saying. Yeah, how you were hustling. I'm not talking about when I say hustle. I'm not talking about selling drugs. I'm talking about out there, going to work, you know, doing what you could, to raise your kid, and
Yeah, and
you
it's
know,
tough, and for people to sit there and say, I don't need a man, and I don't need nobody to help me with my kids, and uh, why not? Why don't you want
yeah. See,
that other
that's that
parent in the
negative
life?
thinking that
It
women
is.
that women
It
get,
it really is, because when he got out, it became so much easier. I wasn't, he was more hands-on with our son. I mean,
It's
gee,
about
there
getting the
was,
right partner, man. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
That's the biggest thing is choosing the right partner
And
both ways.
like
Both
what
sides
you
and that.
said earlier, we try, but I try to explain here. I think you one time you didn't flash on me, but when we talk about homeboy brought up mental health, you know what I mean? I think it's really important for us to, always talk to somebody, you know what I mean? A
Yeah.
professional. I talk to a professional, with my problems. Don't get me wrong, I got a good support system and all that. But like
yeah,
you talk about these women. It's not about the women itself. They have it hard, but they have this mentality. They start getting this mentality about I don't need nobody because they've been broken because what a man's done to them. You know what I mean? Whether it's
Yeah.
domestic
I
violence, the
just really
cheating,
think that
the
if a kid can have the opportunity to have both parents in
oh, of
their
course,
life, absolutely, it does make a difference.
does.
They will have mommy issues later. They will have daddy issues later. I promise you they might. They might not. Some of them, I've met people that are the kindest people, they're teachers or great people that just want to help kids, and they've had the worst upbringing, and they never turned, bad or anything. They just ignored it. They dealt with it and moved on. But you're gambling with your kid's life when
No,
you
you're
don't
right.
when you don't try 100%. When
Yeah.
you're, half-assed with your kid, you might get half-assed results later in life. This is your product that you're putting out into the world.
Yeah.
And I just don't understand why parents, most of them, they
You know,
don't put their
never
kid first.
I never seen so many dads that love their kids as I did in prison. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everybody in there loves their kids so much and can't believe the Ruca's keeping the kid from them and sends a card every fucking holiday. But then they get out and get smoked out again and come right back. You know what I mean? It's never important enough to
Yeah, you
change.
hear all that. Yeah.
It,
It's funny
it's
you
it,
say that.
yeah, it's only while they're in the joint. And it's like everything else in the pinta. Everything's intensified. You know what I'm saying? But it's sad that these, that gente, and I'm as guilty as the next man. I'm not talking, I'm not judging. I'm saying it's fucked up that we choose to be involved in that at the cost of our kids, at our life, their lives and the families and all of those things. It's gacho, bro. And then we get out and usually don't, for the most part, people don't stick to the plans. Everybody comes in and they meet Jesus and or they're just gonna change their lives and then they get out and forget all that. You know what I mean? Not everybody, once
No,
in a
no,
while,
they lose focus
yeah. And it's that's
because
the big,
they
it's
haven't
always
had, they don't get the tools. They
yeah.
don't apply themselves to get the tools to try to be productive. You know what I mean?
It's and it ain't no bullshit. It's hard out here for I mean, especially when you're starting, at in the mid
Fresh,
30s, 40s but it's
right?
worth it. It's worth it. You know what I mean? And
You don't
anything
need
that's
your
worth it,
credit score or none. You know what I mean?
yeah, everything is, but it's worth it when when it's good, it's worth it, bro. At the end of the day, if a motherfucker can get out, straighten up, and start living a normal life and get through the first part that's difficult, man, you will thank yourself later, bro, because this life is fucking it's the shit, bro. It's nice. Yeah, there's always issues. There's always problems. There's a little bit of stress involved in life, but it's
Yeah,
nothing like when we
but that's
sat
the way it goes. You know what I mean? It's just the way you go
yeah,
about it. You know?
yeah, but
I
it's
mean,
not
it was a little stressful, like when you got out, because I couldn't just hang up on you. I mean, you're like living with me now, so what can I do?
Hmm?
That's a little stressful.
you didn't hang up on me in there, fool. What the fuck you think you're talking about?
I could have.
Pastor
Yeah,
Gluck Gluck said, "No chingas, you ain't married, Cricket." Nah, bro, she wouldn't ask me.
yeah.
You're
I
so
caught that. You know?
stupid. You're so
She wouldn't ask, bro. And I finally broke it down after 20, I don't know, something years, and I said, "Fuck it, I'm gonna go ahead and ask her. She's all right."
dumb. Well, yeah, thanks for that.
You're welcome, baby. Sergio said, "Cricket was the bottom bunk." Orale. Man, I
Yeah,
said,
because I didn't like the bottom
you didn't
bar. I
like,
was always on the top bunk.
you didn't like jumping up, jumping to keep just laying down.
Hey, when I was in there for those 3 days, the girl let me have the bottom bunk
Yeah, you were eight
because I was
months pregnant.
Yeah, you're
pregnant.
ready to pop. What do you mean?
Yeah, you weren't gonna
That's
swaddle your
mandatory.
ass up there.
You know?
Ah, like that?
Could you imagine like trying to 1, 2, 3?
Wow.
They made her take a pregnancy test, bro.
Huh?
8 months pregnant, and they said, "Well, you could just be fat."
No, they didn't.
Yeah,
Come on.
I was so skinny with like this huge belly. I felt like
This
those.
is a true story.
Yeah, this is a
Oh,
true
Yeah.
story. And even my celly was like, "What did they say? They didn't want to give you prenatal. They're gonna go make you take a test." I was like, "Yeah, they said that I could be lying." And she's like, "Really?" She's like looking out the little window, waiting to see the guard when they came to get me to take me to
Look,
medical.
that's her at 2 months.
So imagine me at 9 months.
mm.
And she was telling the guard when like they were coming to get me, she's like, "Really? You're good. That's baby in there. Hello."
Yeah,
She's like, you could see her collarbones. She was so mad for me. I was like, I think she was just mad or angry. Not mad or angry, but she was like a little fighter or something.
She had
yeah.
them
Well,
years
he
in
made a
her,
good
bro.
comment right there, Cricket.
What he say?
Richie,
Oh, yeah.
About looking at, you looking up to the big homies. I'm not, when I say the big homies, I'm talking about,
Yeah.
from your neighborhood. I'm not talking about, in prison. You know what I mean? And you see the lifestyle. The homie with the nice car, the nice girlfriend.
Yep.
The nice threads, all the the clothes.
Yep.
Hmm.
The Cortezes. Brand new Cortez every day. Stacey
Yeah.
Adams.
It's real pretty on the outside. Yep. It's
Yeah, it's
You
a
know,
true story.
but a majority already been to jail or
yeah, for real.
You should get to some of the comments, babe.
I've been putting them up as we're going.
Yeah, he
Um,
is.
yeah,
What everyone has a plan. I didn't get that. I mean, I get it, but
everyone has a plan to hit in the mouth. The gate opening is that hit in, and if you don't have some boxing skills beyond haymakers, you're done.
is he talking about one of these guys that because they're clowning, going back and forth?
No,
Man,
he's talking about. He's using a metaphor to getting out and
oh, I got you. I get it. I get it. I get it. Yeah,
yeah.
it sounds like we're
I
talking
don't
about.
get it, but I'll
It
probably
sounds
get
all
it a
good.
little later. It
Yeah,
just takes me a minute to catch up.
yeah, that's understandable. It's allowed.
Watch Matt
You know what I mean?
said, I thought I saw Cricket today, but when I approached him, he asked me if I wanted to buy some Boy Scout cookies for his clica.
I caught that.
Yeah. I'd rather be part of that clique, I'll tell you that much. Them motherfuckers
Yeah.
won't try to whack me.
Right?
But they might try to. Never mind. There we go. Look at Edmund educating minors every day.
I like that, Francisco. He's said that before, and I
Yeah.
think that's great.
He said they thought you had a tumor, babe.
Okay, well, I didn't. It's not a tumor.
Rascal. Rascal said, damn, I haven't heard someone say threads in years.
Bro, you're up there too, homie.
You guys are up there.
That's why I switched it quick. You know what I mean? I forgot.
Right. Look at Farmero B23, the strongest clica in YouTube history. Watcha. No, but yeah, seriously, I know we're kind of winding down, but I mean, I'm glad we brought you on, brother, and I'd like to make this a little more often if you want to, because I think you bring knowledge to the table.
Knowledge.
Yeah, I have no problems with that, bro. I was kind of like, I mean, I can go. You know what I mean? I was kind of like, standoffish a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you acting shy.
Yeah, I'm not shy, but I was like, I get deep and I just get too emotional. You know what I mean? Because me, I'm an emotional kind of guy.
Yeah,
I'm in touch with my feminine side. You know what I mean?
Oh, I remember.
And I think it's important.
He said, "I remember."
No, it's true. As far as I used to be real hard inside. I was bitter. I
Yeah.
was, I was a hypocrite. I was all that. You know what I mean? And it took me a long time to, look in the mirror. And,
Yeah.
like I said before, and I've talked about things like this, like the words I knew before was hate, anger, you know, jealousy, hate, all them. Now I don't know them words. They're not in my vocabulary. Now it's joy, happiness. You know what I mean? To be transparent now. You know, to be vulnerable when I have to be. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So to get my
Well,
message
I,
across
I
to
I
people.
do use the word hate, especially when it comes to people not taking responsibility for their kids. I hate that. I hate that people promote prison gangs and violence and things like that. I do hate all that. I do have a very big passion for that. It
Right.
really it bothers me. Now what happened in the past with, Manuel and our co-defendants and that whole clique and everything. Um, I'm over it. I hate the situation that happened, but I mean, I'm one of those people that I'm not gonna be all friendly though either. Like it just is what it is. Like I just don't mess with you, and I'm gonna come across people in life that I don't like or don't like what they got going on. I don't hate them. I just don't. I want to deal with certain individuals. We're not all for each other. But again,
Yeah.
like I would help somebody I don't like. I would help their kid if they needed it. If somebody I absolutely just didn't agree with, I don't like the way they talk, the way they act. I think they're crappy parents. But if they called me and said, my kid needs this, I'm right there. Because it ain't about the adults anymore. It's about these kids.
The
They're
youth.
never going to change their minds. They're set in their ways.
Yeah.
And I don't have to be friends with them,
And Chango, I've
you know?
talked about that on here before. I think, well, I know human beings, bro, gente in general are emotional creatures. You know what I'm saying? We, being in the pinta, you have to,
Yeah,
you know,
different. Yeah, you're absolutely being different emotions. I get you.
yeah, you suppress that, you keep that shit down, and that's what I talk about on here a lot. Where I tell them, these kids that look up to these vatos, thinking that they're just these rock solid gangsters and no emotions y la madre, is bullshit, bro. Like you're the hardest motherfucker has sat there and laid on his bunk and teared up out of nostalgia thinking about the calles.
I was gonna say that right now, bro. Hey, you're right. When that door locks,
Yeah,
whether you got a Shelly or not, but even if you have a Shelly, you sit there and they're shooting the bobo, hey, QLA homie. When it's time to tell you, Shelly, hey, lights out, bro. Whether if you're being transparent with your Shelly or not, when you sit down that bunk and you're looking about, the mistakes you made, or you're thinking about your ex Ruka or your girl that's coming to visit you, or your kid, whoever you
yeah,
really it's really like it gets deep. So there, unless you're a psychopath, you know what I mean? You
yeah,
said every man when it's locked down, they start thinking, man.
yep.
And I'm not talking about the plotting and I'm talking
No,
about the, like you said, it gets deep, man. It's like looking out, man. I,
yeah,
I I was one of them, bro. I would be like,
me
after
too.
I made that transition in my life, and I was looking, I was like, man, I'm gonna die here, man. Damn, but you know what? I accepted my fate. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
That's what when I was, no, seriously, I know it's a joke. I was in there for 3 days, but I seriously thought, like, I'm going to have my baby in here. Like, I'm not going
listen,
to have my baby.
no,
Like, what
I'm
the
gonna tell
heck?
you
Like, they're
something.
going to take my kid from me.
No, no, no. Let
Like,
me tell you something,
those are some
homegirl.
messed up thoughts.
No, listen. I don't care if it's 1 day. I don't care if it's 10 days. I don't care if it's 90 days. You hear people. That's the problem with people. Oh, you only did 90 days. You only did a year, and you're crying. Man, people ain't cut for this. You know what I mean? Hey, I'd rather be out here. Listen, I'm gonna tell you right now, bro. I'm gonna die out here by all means necessary. I'm never gonna go back to jail.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Because
yeah,
I got responsibilities. You know what I mean? I don't care if I'm in a cardboard box, living in a cardboard box. I'm sorry. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And it's all gonna be legit. I can't. So
yeah. You're
when for
right,
you to
and
say
and the
it's not, they
emotions.
said it's not, it's funny, but 3 days is 3 days, and then
Yeah,
your situation, you're a
yeah,
square from Delaware at that. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
You're just
And
caught
emotions
up.
are magnified in the pinta when you get locked up. You have 24 hours to sit there and just think. Like, and then she was in closed custody, so she wasn't out in the pod running around talking to bitches and watching TV. She was stuck in the fucking room with one crackhead in her, you know what I mean, and her Latmo bag.
And that's torture. You know.
Yeah.
You know what though? I have to find her, that girl that I was there with, because she was really really nice to me.
Oh,
Like,
you. Oh,
no,
my
she
my bad.
was like, she was nice to me. She, tried to get me extra drinks. You know what I mean? She tried to
Yeah,
do whatever she could do.
you got
She's
a
like,
fan.
she was like, "Oh my God, you're pregnant. You need prenatal." And then like she called the guard, and the guard's like, "Well, she'll have to take a pregnancy test." Why was she like? I couldn't even talk. She would talk for me,
Yeah, you just
and
gotta
she would.
adapt. That's the thing that homie, hang out. That's a good thing with uh humans. They can adapt. To every situation. But you said it's not built for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's one of the things that I usually say when on my spills, where I say that. I mean, of course we acclimate to our environment, we have a good time, we laugh, we have fun. I mean, the fuck are you supposed to do when you're in there living your life? Of course you're gonna have good times and bad times like everybody else. But the best time in there is nothing compared to the worst time out here. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just it's still is got you. You can do 40 years and be all the way institutionalized, and you're still thinking of that 41st year when you were out, and wishing you were out there. And that's the thing. You got these little youngsters running to get locked up, while everybody they look up to is wishing they could be out like them. And
Mm-hmm.
You know what?
it's
I
fucking
think
sad.
when you were there at night and you had a lot of time to think, I think you were thinking about what you were going to get from store and how much it was going to cost and what time I'm going to be up so you can call me and bug me, and is the check in the mail and when's it coming and yada yada yada.
Well, there was
Oh,
some
you
of
know what
that.
they said that
Or
you're not
did you
from.
have some of those nights?
Yeah, there was a few. I don't know about calling you, but the check in the mail thing was true.
Oh wow.
And yeah, you're not. On my bad, they said you're not from Delaware. You're from Tijuana.
Don't listen to you.
Palmero.
Hate you.
Look, Ratsko said, "Oh, here we go. Jovan got to see if she has parents." Here it is. Francisco said, "That's awesome, Chango. Claim that, Hale. Own it. You deserve to be out here in society." And we haven't
Absolutely.
even talked about that, but Chango was sentenced to life. Um,
Yeah,
he actually. What did you get? A sentence modification, or how
yeah.
did that work?
Well, that too with the when my buddy Donald Trump. You know,
Oh, yeah, that's right. With the law. Yeah, yeah.
you know,
Man,
the first step act. And
because I
then you
when I was with you, you had no date.
right exactly.
Man,
You
that's
know,
crazy.
Yeah.
so
So
I'm blessed, man. And you know, I explained this a while back. Why I express it all the time. I mean, right now, look, it's whatever. It's late right now. Right now, I can just go outside. Right now, my door's open. If I
yeah,
want to go hang out outside, I just only it's dark, but I can get some fresh air. You know what I mean? In the morning, we gotta go to work, or just go to go just get some fresh air and see the birds. You know what I mean?
yeah,
You know, I'm not hearing a
Cool.
cricket inside in the cell because I'm hearing them out here. Like I said, seeing the
yeah.
moon. Just the little things I took for granted, man. And
Hey,
I'm
if you
very
want to hear a bird, I can do a really good bird sound.
No, you,
stop it.
Like
I'm here.
call,
no, man.
call.
Huh?
Yeah, the
See, that
buddy.
sounds like a bird outside your window, huh?
No, that didn't sound like that. Well,
It
that's
kind
a,
of does.
I think that's another channel there.
That
I
was
know.
a that was a
I don't
plucked
I don't.
bird.
That's
Matt
another.
Max
I don't.
said, I wouldn't be able to be locked up. I'd go crazy, man. Anyone know of a vato going crazy because 4 walls was all you had? Man, I seen so many motherfuckers go crazy, bro. I used to,
That's another thing about how people they couldn't take it no more. You know what I mean?
yeah. I
And then
remember
do you guys have do some places don't have windows to look outside?
when I was in that CCA, they put me in it was called New Seg. It was seclusion, and it had the window for the door to look out to the pod, but no window in the back cell to look outside. And
All right,
they
homie.
they had me on house alone, rec alone, shower alone, and lieutenant or above to open my door. So even when I went out to the rec cages, to the dog cages, I was out there by myself in my own cage, nobody else in other cages. And then when they come to get me from my shower, they cuff me up, take me there, and the other 2 showers that were down there, they wouldn't put nobody in them. And the downstairs of that was like locos and shit, a bunch like vatos trying to whack themselves and shit. And
Yeah,
upstairs were like high
dickheads.
profile. And so when you would go down there, bro, it would all smell like shit from these vatos like painting the walls with writing on the walls with shit, or covering themselves with mierda. And it was just, bro, I was in that highlight for like 5 years. And that's the one place that I still talk about to this day, where I used to tell Jovan, bro, I would call her on the phone and I'd be like, man, I think I'm going crazy. Like I would, you know how you pace in your cell? You know what I'm saying? When
Of
you're,
course.
so I would be in there pacing, brother, and I would just start laughing. Like there was nothing going on, nothing funny. I would just laugh. And I'm like, and then I would stop myself and be like, what the fuck? I'm tripping, right? And I told Maruka, like, when I said, man, I think I'm going crazy, man. Today I just started laughing out of nowhere. And that was the one spot, bro, that man, I was like, what the fuck? In 5 years, bro. And then I forced them to move me. I told them I'm gonna bust this motherfucker up. And they moved me to the other section, and it was better over there. Obviously, there was more, a little bit more freedom, but it was still in the hole. But I had people next door that I could fuck with. When I went to the dog cages, there was other people. I had them pull a lot of that bullshit off me. But that
You
shit,
know
bro,
that
that
you're
was
right when you talk about that. I mean, when you really, I was in the same predicament at one time. Like you said, there's a lot of people. There's nothing good about that. You're getting escorted by police to the shower,
yeah,
cuffed back and forth. All everything's monitored. They're
yeah.
watching you.
And then
And it's like,
a lot of times,
who wants to
like
live like that, bro?
they
Is this
had me
is this
on,
what these guys want
and
to? Go
yeah,
ahead.
they had me
What?
they had to have 2 hands on me and lieutenant or above, right?
Of course,
And
yeah.
sometimes a lieutenant wasn't available. So they would dig. I would like 2-3 days, bro. They wouldn't let me go to rec or shower because they couldn't open my door because there was no lieutenant available because they were short of staff. He couldn't make it down there. And I'd be in there like, what the man? No
Man,
rec, no shower, no nothing, bro. I just stuck in the
bird
cell.
bird bath.
Yeah, well, that was like it
No, what I'm
was like
saying is, we're who you're living like an animal.
yeah,
I mean, is this what these guys want to? Is this how they want to live? Hearing my story, your story, just all these stories. It's just being incarcerated, man. Just the way you lost everything, and then if you want to act like you're some high powered ass dude, they got something for you. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
And and
yeah,
and it's like, when you're young, it's like, even when you're in juvenile hall, the boys ran CYA, and it's like, man, it's like, where's the justice, man? Is this how you want to live your life? And I understand some people, you make mistakes. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It was an accident and so forth, but majority of the time, man, it wasn't no accident. You knew what you were doing.
yeah,
You know, you're
yeah. That's
guilty, but you sit there and you try to justify your means, especially when you get older.
yeah,
Like you said, homegirl, about the youth, and it's like, that sometimes they don't have no direction, and that's what that's what we got to look forward to. You know what I mean? You know, the neighborhoods, and You know,
Absolutely.
and don't get me wrong. I know a lot of homies that didn't get, like I said, get involved, and they're successful. They did their thing. You know what I mean? They did the family thing. They were their wives, and they're retired now. Or just working and doing the 9 to 5 and just living life, man. Going on
Yeah,
vacations and living living life the way you're supposed to live. You know what I'm saying?
The
bro.
American dream, you know?
Life
You know?
here is not life out here is bro. Nothing compares. Like once you've lost this, eh, eh, you know, because a lot of people just take this for granted, and who wouldn't? You know what I'm saying? If this is all you know, obviously you're not gonna think about it the way we do. But son of a bitch, bro. Like this, like that's why I say the worst day out here is still female, and that's why I can laugh when people come in and say you're a piece of shit. You're this man. Fuck you. I'm on the guys. You ain't been through
Yeah.
what I've been through. I'm good.
Yeah.
Fuck
Thank
that.
thank thank you very much. You
Yeah,
know?
I got shanked in my motherfucking neck in a riot. Like it wasn't fun times. So I'm having fun now, and yeah, that shit
Well,
ain't.
you
What's
know, I know it's a little off subject, but
Yeah, that's fine.
Yvonne just said,
I seen that.
speaking of teaching kids violence, my 13-year-old daughter got into a fight. The girl got the better of her because she didn't fight back. No, I don't want her to fight, but want her to defend herself. I don't know how to approach it. Obviously, yes, your daughter should defend herself no matter what. Anybody should defend themselves if they're in their face or in their personal space. Um, it's unfortunate that she got in a fight, and I'm sorry for her for that.
Yeah.
But if anybody, puts their hands on her, she absolutely has the right to defend herself. You know,
Yeah,
um,
there's
yeah, you
that.
want to try to do everything you can. Go to the school, talk to the teachers, or you know, mediation or something. But if all that doesn't work or doesn't help, then she has to defend herself. Anybody should,
Yeah,
you know.
and part of that should be to a point. You know what I mean? Use the force that is used against you. You can usually stop someone from. You know what I mean? Like I hate to sound like it's just all bitched up. You know what I mean? But we're talking about a 13-year-old girl, um, and so I would say do your best to not try to hurt the person. Just try to. I don't know. It's that's
No,
so.
no one enough is enough. Get her off of you.
It's just
Um,
hard.
get her off of you. Try to
Yeah,
walk away from the
just get
situation,
her
or
and put her in a huckleberry and call it a day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Violence.
Yvonne. I've told this story before on the live, and it was a long time ago. You probably weren't on here then, but I talked about the first time that I fought somebody in high school, and it was this girl. She just kept at me, and I was like, she just would say rude little comments in class. She would, try to tug my hair because I sat in front of her or whatever. Um, just just being petty every day. I hated going to that class because I was like, oh my God, here she is. You know what I mean? Here we go.
Yeah.
And she sat behind me, so my chair was right there. I would feel her tugging. If I turned around to pass the paper, she would snatch it. It just got to the point where I was like, oh my God, like, I talked to my friends about it and stuff, and they're like, you might have to fight her so she can leave you alone. And I let it go on for a while because I just didn't want to. I was very scared. I'd never been in a fight in my life. And although she didn't put her hands on me first, I was very scared to get hit in the face or get hit. So I got up and I hit her first. I wasn't gonna wait for her to put her hands on me. She already annoyed me for like a whole month. She was already rude and trying to bully me, and I wasn't gonna. No way. I was too scared to get hit, touched, or anything. So I just stood up and turned around and hit her, and then dragged her off her chair. But my adrenaline was just going, And, she never messed with me again. And that's all that was needed to be
Yeah.
done. But a person can only take so much,
Yeah, sometimes you
whether
just
it's
make an
them putting their
example where,
hands on you or whether it's bullying you. And I'm telling you, this girl, I had it with her.
how old were you?
And I was probably like 15 or 14.
Huh.
So
Yeah.
that's your claim to fame?
No, it was the worst feeling.
No, I'm
My
saying
leg,
after that
my
you didn't. What I'm saying after that, you never got in trouble again, and you never got into fights after that.
after that, I was in one more fight, and it wasn't my fight. No,
After that, did you walk around the school like Santana in juvenile hall?
absolutely not. That first fight,
So you were being a bully
my
then.
legs felt like jello. Like, luckily there was people that like pulled me off and were holding me, because my adrenaline, I felt like throwing up. I felt so scared. I've never
So one was scared and the other one was glad.
Well, I mean, I had to do it because I couldn't keep letting her pick on me. Do you know what
It
I
was the
mean?
same girl or another girl?
No. So there was another time, my cousin, she was a cheerleader. She was a co-captain of the cheerleading team. She was only a sophomore, and a lot of people didn't like that, and she was like, I think the only Mexican girl on the team. And then I think there was like another black girl, and she got hated on a lot because she was in cheerleading like her whole life since she was little. So she was really good. And we had half day. We went to McDonald's. I'm in line. She's like, I'm gonna go use the payphone real quick. My mom just paged me. I said, okay. She goes outside to use the payphone. And I just happened to look on the side of my eye, and I see these two girls like fighting her, and she's fighting. I'm like, oh my God. I just kept staring. Like, I look straight and I'm like, what if I just act like I don't see what's happening?
Oh,
And I'm like standing there like, oh my God, this is happening. Like, they're jumping my cousin. Like, what do I do? Like, it was such a moment. I'm like, oh my God. I was like, I walked like back and forth. I try not to look. And then when I looked over, I kind of like made eye contact with her. So I like ran outside. And then I had to like get one girl off of her. And then we both like started fighting these girls. And then they left. But I was like, oh my God. Again, I was like, what just happened? She had been in fights before, so she was like used to it, but I wasn't. I was not a fighter, and I was always like, oh my God, I don't want to get hit in my face. Like, luckily I didn't, but it was just the worst. I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. I didn't try to like to go look for trouble or anything, but the first time, uh, this girl just, I had enough of her, with her
Yeah.
words, with her actions, just the way she would say things, and I just didn't like it.
yeah.
So you should
Yeah,
always defend yourself. You should
you're right.
always
Yeah,
defend
it's a
yourself.
catch-22. But like, what's her name? She was asking. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you defend yourself. I mean, and sometimes
It'll
you don't
stop.
even sometimes you don't even have to put your hands on somebody, just by words, just by bullying somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It could
They
be
say you were
so
a
much.
chola. They say that you were extorting people at school.
No, okay, that was a different
AP.
story. See, that was a different story.
So you were promoting when you were young then, huh?
No.
Well, the good thing, at least you're not doing anything wrong now, at least that we know of.
Okay, no, that was in high school. So in junior
But
high,
oh my, the plot
yeah.
thickens, huh? So you just
And you
got
know
this
what?
pattern, huh?
Maybe what goes around comes around, because I did that in junior high. I took a girl's lunch money for 30 days, but I did not touch her. It was just my words. And maybe that's why, like, then my freshman or sophomore year, whatever year I was in, this girl
But you were
treated
strong
me the way
arming,
she did.
you were extorting. Still, it's all criminal thinking.
Oh, I know, but I
You can't
treated
you can't
that.
justify that.
No,
No,
but
I said I was sorry.
I don't know
in
if you
all
realize I'm a
seriousness,
counselor. You know that, right?
Okay, I know, but we're getting way off the topic. We're talking about defending ourselves.
No, I understand. Well, you're
no,
the one explaining your stories. I mean, I didn't know all this stuff. It's all coming out. If it don't come on the wash, it comes on the
Okay,
rinse.
I know, but don't listen to those stories. That's another time. I'm talking
I
about
mean,
the time I had to defend myself.
yeah. The thing is, in all seriousness, we've all heard the stories though where someone punches a kid, the kid hits his head and dies. I mean, the
yeah, that's
consequences are real, and those things need to be at the top of your head sometimes too. I mean, Yeah, self-defense. I mean, I'm one. I say it all the time. I'm not gonna just let somebody come whack me. You know what I mean? I'm gonna do whatever I have to do to preserve my life. But at the same time, it has to be. You know, I'm not gonna go overboard either. You know what I mean? Like, um, because I know what can happen and what it could lead to, and like Chango said, I ain't going back. It ain't happening. And so,
It's about how you maneuver, you know.
yeah,
And even
and
like when
so
you're promoting to, like you said, about the young generation. I'm not even just about the gangs, about in situations. You know what I mean? Like you said, bullying is real. People, just with their mouth, there's a lot of ball busting. You know what I mean? Or because of
yeah.
what they look like, or what they are. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
And
mean, a kid can only take so much
no, of course,
of their
And a lot
mouth,
of
and
times bullies will if you stand up to a bully, they usually stand down. They don't want no beef.
yeah,
They're
you're
looking
absolutely
for
right.
the prey.
That's why I use that saying about one's scared and the other one's glad.
Yeah,
No one wants funk. You know what I mean? And someone's
yeah,
going to try you
and
all the time.
Yvonne,
It's how you go about the situation. You know what I mean? There's other
yeah,
ways of just using violence.
and Yvonne said that her dad was upset because she didn't defend herself, but sometimes kids just don't know how. They don't have that in them. They're just innocent kids that don't want problems, and it happened. Like I said, the first time it happened, the first time I was in a fight, I didn't want to be. I didn't want to be. Like I said, my legs felt like jello. I I was shaking. My adrenaline was all over the place. I didn't know. I was like, this is not who I am. This is not me. But at the same time, if it happens, it happens. You have to defend yourself. You just do. Um, but don't be so hard. You guys don't be so hard on her, Yvonne. She's a kind kid probably, and just
Oh
didn't
no,
know what to do with that.
yeah,
There's kids
for
that
sure.
just don't know.
you said it yourself. Cricket. You don't realize it. Something happens. Like you hit the dude. Or the girl, whatever. She falls, bumps her head on the table, whatever it is. You know what I mean? Next thing you know, you're sitting in juvenile hall. It's an accident. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
yeah. And again, I know we may go overboard with thinking of the consequences because of where we've been, but that's why I think that our stories matter because people can learn from our mistakes and not have to go through that shit. That shit is not fun. You know what I mean?
this is
Like,
real.
yeah, I mean, what I was saying earlier, I mean that was 100% fucking how it was. I swear I thought I was going crazy in that month. And that was just 5 years of my law. I don't even know how much time in fucking seg, but those 5 years was like it was crazy. And then there's just so much that you experience by being locked up. You're an animal. They treat you like that too. These placas, they're not they're not sensitive to your needs in there and shit, right? So you know nobody wants to get treated like that, go through that, be like that. So please just listen to what we're telling you, hear our stories and learn from it because that shit is it. The pinta, the jails, the juveniles, that's just for the birds, bro. There's nothing fun or cool about it. And I'm telling you, the worst motherfucker in there that everybody thinks the hardest motherfucker wishes he was out here. That's the way it is. People do what they have to do to survive in there, so maybe they take chances and do whatever, but trust me, they don't want to.
Hey, Chango, just don't disregard these messages where they're talking about me. That's for a whole
Oh,
nother.
I
Don't
watched
listen.
them.
Don't,
Matter of fact, I did screenshots on them already
oh my God!
because I'm gonna
Don't
read them later.
don't listen to them.
Look
You
at,
know,
look at AP said it's called an adrenaline rush. You were enjoying every moment of your violent rap.
I was
so I
not
got all that.
enjoying
I'm
that. I
listening.
was not enjoying that. And then the second time, and then the second time I was in a fight happened like a week and a half later. And then
Wow,
when
it's
I
just
had
a
to
pattern, huh?
no, see what I mean? And my mom said the same thing. She
Wow.
goes,
Eight
"Oh,
way.
no." My mom said, "Oh, you got in a fight again? Is this a little habit? I got grounded." My mom would just throw out groundation like if it was nothing. The first time I got grounded, the second time I got grounded, and it wasn't even my fault. I was like, it had nothing to do with me, and they don't they didn't want to hear it. Oh man, it was bad time.
Yeah. Well.
So that was the only time you got in trouble?
No, I used to get in trouble a lot, and it was for stupid things. Like my curfew was 11 o'clock. If I got home at 11:05, I'd get in trouble.
Of
Like, oh, you
course, but
can't use the phone.
why are
You
you
can't
breaking
use
your
the phone
curfew
for,
though?
huh?
Why are you breaking your curfew though? 11 o'clock is a long time at night, and especially that
For
young.
17-year-olds, 11 o'clock. All my friends got to be out till like 1 o'clock, 12 o'clock.
It's not
I was the
about your
only one that
friends.
had to be home at 11. It was
If your
ridiculous.
friend jumped off the bridge, would you do it?
I'd probably be the one jumping off and leading everybody. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
No, you ain't. See, that's a voice
No,
of
I'm
experience,
kidding. I'm
man.
kidding. No, but it just,
Mhm.
I wanted to be out. Like, I just wanted to be with my friends, and everybody got to go home a little later. And I'm like, I'm 16, 17. Like, who comes home at 11 o'clock? Like, okay, maybe even 11:30,
On what days?
but
On school nights?
they were strict like that. No, I couldn't go out on school nights. I had to be inside by like 8 or 9 o'clock on a school night.
I
I
like
couldn't go
that.
anywhere.
I really admire your parents.
No, and you know what though? On school nights, we really didn't get to go out on school nights because we were involved in sports. We had boxing or softball or dance, or we were involved in stuff. They made us join something or some type of
Oh,
activity,
so
so we didn't
you were
have time
boxing, so
during
that's
the
why
week.
you end up really hurting the girl, huh?
No, no, it had nothing to do with that. No, that was
Oh.
later. But they made us join something or be in something so that during the week we were busy. And then as soon as I turned 16, I got an after school job. So we were always busy doing something. So if on the weekend I wanted to go out, I had to be home by 11. If I even came home 5 minutes late, they would ground me. So sometimes I'm like, you know what, forget it. I'm gonna stay out till
Oh,
11:45.
Farmero's funny.
If
She was a dog.
if she
Then
was a
bragging.
dog,
That's not true.
And big mofo.
all right. What were you doing at 11, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. It was
Mm-hmm.
embarrassing. I had to leave wherever I was 10 or 15 minutes early.
How
Hey
is that
guys, I
embarrassing?
gotta go home.
That's a
I
good
gotta go
curfew,
home.
especially for
Well,
a young
everybody
girl, you
gets
know?
to hang out. Everybody gets to hang out, but I have to leave early because my parents want me home at 11. And we couldn't use the phone after 10 o'clock. If that phone rang after 10 o'clock, my heart would drop. Like, oh my God, I hope it's not for me. We would get grounded for the most like
No,
dumbest things
that's structure.
sometimes.
That's good. You know?
And then, like I told my mom once, she's like, God, you're really late. You're 45 minutes late. I go, well, I figured if I was going to be late, I might as well be late. She goes, well, I
You
was only
sound
going to take the phone from you for a day, but you can make it 4.
you
I'm like,
sound like
oh
me.
my God.
You sound like me now. Every time I knew I messed up, so I might as well go all the way. I'm not even coming home.
Right.
Catch me. I'm not coming home for a couple of days. I'm gonna get the same consequences.
And what was more messed up is if I wasn't out of the house by 8 o'clock, I'd be dressed and ready. I'm just waiting for my ride or whatever. They would say, you know what? You're not going out anymore. You're just
Hey, these
staying home.
guys, these guys love you, man. I
AP.
love these comments, man.
Joanna been wild in her village. It'd be like that. She never assimilated.
Whatever. You're so stupid.
Oh, shit. Joanna was gangster from the 64th Ave Mafia, they said.
I know those. No, sir.
I
None of that
told you I
here.
knew it. See, you play the victim role, man. See, I had you
No,
all wrong, man.
I
Then you
didn't
tell
hang.
me
I didn't hang out with none of them people from there. Nope.
See?
Sorry.
She's the one who led me
you had your own
astray.
clique, huh? You
I did
kept saying
not
about your
lead you
homegirls.
astray.
You kept saying, I need to go with my homegirls. I need to be with my homegirls.
I didn't call them that.
I am a homegirl too.
Oh my God.
Orale. Well, we're over 2 hours. This was fun. I appreciate you, brother, coming in.
No problem.
Want to keep bullshitting? We can keep bullshitting.
I
I
like
think
when
you some of the comments.
hey,
We
because
just
I never.
happened to end up with a carnal, please.
Okay, AP. Don't.
But Bata choca loca.
No,
I
no
know.
Chocoloco over here,
Hey,
AP.
I like AP, man. He's funny, man.
He's not funny. Don't listen to him. Don't
Yeah,
listen to him. He's not.
hey, bro, hey, cricket. All
Uh,
the curfew, all this and that, to end up being with a brother, huh?
yeah.
Right? Right.
She says, hey,
And you know what's so sad is
and
like
that's
when
love, bro.
no, and you know what's so sad that like when I got pregnant and after the whole, getting arrested and him going, my mom would always say, "Did we do something wrong?" Like she would always like want to blame herself.
But she has a good point though.
And I'm just like, "No, you didn't, mom. Like you guys were
I did
great
everything in my
parents."
powers. We gave you a curfew. We did this. We did that. We chipped with the sports, but it wasn't good enough for you, homegirl. Do you understand their
So
point of view though?
The
I
fucking
feel
knight in shining armor came and swept her off her feet. What was she
oh
doing?
my God, I wouldn't go that far. Calm
There's
What do
no
you
down.
mean?
hey, there's no
Mm-hmm.
remedy for that, bro.
Calm down. I wouldn't go that far.
Hey, brother. One time,
All
so
right, Billy.
when I hooked up with her, órale, Billy B23, ya sabes, brother. One time so she had left her dress at my chante, right? And
Her
she's at
dress.
yeah, a dress, like a
Oh,
dress.
okay. Uh huh.
And so she's at the chante at her house, and I send this vato to. I tell him, hey, go by Maruca's house when you go in
All
and
right,
take
John.
her dress back. And this dude was like, he was from 35th. So his name was Duty, but he's a big ass dude, bro, all sleeved down, right? He knocks on her door, and her dad opens the door, eh? And this fool hands her dad the dress. Her dad was like, "What the fuck? Like, who the hell is this dude bringing you your clothes?" You know what I mean? And she had like I don't know if he had seen you with me too, or what he thought. He just tripped out, huh?
Yeah, because you were like my first boyfriend that had a tattoo and stuff like that. So it was kind of weird for them. And then you were Mexican, so it's kind of also different for them.
What's wrong with that?
Nothing.
What are you?
They
Are you
just
white?
they never see me with someone like him and who dressed like him. And
Fuck with the whites, bro.
What are you white?
Oh, she's
no,
Mexican, but
no, but all my past boyfriends were white.
she's a coconut.
I was
What?
not a coconut. Shut up.
I just heard a story the other day about something like that. I couldn't stop laughing, man.
Yeah,
This
in
guy.
high school, that's what she hung out with.
Yeah, that. And it's crazy. One of my homegirls was like that too. All she did was white guys. And one of the homies would try to holler at her. Like they went to school together. Like I'm talking about elementary. He hollered at her. Eighth grade hollered at her. High school. So he was going to college. He asked her one more time. Anyhow, she ended up finally getting together after he came back from college. You know what I mean? And they're
Yeah,
living happily ever after. But
oh, that's cool.
anyhow,
Yeah. Look at AP. She even smacked Grillo around. Said your chick's crazy, bro.
Okay, I am not. I'm no, 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 no. We're not doing that.
What's
well, I
up,
don't
Gas?
know. I mean, you was getting violent before we got on. I mean, you was getting rowdy. I
Okay,
I
when
had
we
to
were when we were in the back, you heard how he starts with me. You
no,
saw that.
no, I didn't. All I heard was you getting rowdy. You know, you know. I'm sure glad it's like hey, when I had to intervene. I need 50 feet. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
I cannot. I cannot.
Yeah. No, this was a we had good. This is a good conversation, bro. I thoroughly enjoyed it, brother. I appreciate you coming in and helping us out with this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank
no
you,
problem.
Chango. It was nice talking to you and on a
Serio, now
serious
that now that you're
level.
over the what is it
It's
called?
stage fright.
Yeah, stage fright. When you come back, we'll get you to really tell your story.
Hey, boys, it's like they say. I'm doing in therapy. I'm at age 15 now. You know what I mean? We've
Yeah,
already covered. 15 years.
Yeah,
We're going, year by year.
there you go.
But nah, this it
That
just
might be therapy.
it is therapy, but man, it brings back. I'm pretty good now. You know what I mean? I came a long ways as far as the trauma. And man, it was rough,
Well,
man.
I think you've come a long way. I think Manuel's come a long way. Um, I'm super proud of the people that you guys are now today. I think you guys are great human beings, and you guys deserve to be out here. And to some
I
people, you guys
appreciate
may
that.
not deserve that, but you're here, and you guys are making the best of life, and you guys are trying to be good human beings every day, and that's all that matters. So,
She was doing more than Bruce Lee.
Right?
I don't know
Yeah.
what got into me that night. I was just so mad at him. I just went off on him because
He don't even know what you're talking about. Let me tell. I'm gonna tell him the story.
in a nutshell.
Watch out, Chango. I had just got out. So I met her in the county jail, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
I'm in the county jail. She's on the calles. Her tia was with another carnal. So anyway, we met. I get out, and after us corresponding and talking on the phone for a couple months, and I'm with her now. I'm on the streets with her, and we're at her tia's apartment. And I had a homeboy named also from he was just on the chat not too long ago, but he had just got out. So or I had just got out, and I think he had just got out too, right, babe?
Probably a little bit before you, but he came
Yeah.
over. He
So he
stopped
comes,
by to say hi to you before he was on his way to his girlfriend's house.
yeah. So he comes inside what's up, brother? We're childhood friends, brother. And so we're right there, we're talking, we're bullshitting. He's like, all right, I'm gonna go. And I'm like, go, where are you going? Like, hold on. Because Maruca's tia was making food, and I'm like, just chill. And he's like, no, I'm gonna go with this Ruka, right? My old lady's waiting for me or something. And I'm like, bro, like I just got out, like kick it, brother. What the fuck? So Jovan opens her fucking mouth and said something. What did you're like, let him go or
I was like, if
something?
he wants to go, let him go. Like, get
Yeah.
on him. Like, he's got to go see his girl. Like, what?
So then I get mad and I'm like, you know what? Mind your fucking business. This is between me and him, right? And so that turns into a little argument between her and I. And I understand now I was disrespectful. You know what? It was a
You
different
were. You were.
time.
Rude.
And so I end up telling her, like, after my homeboy leaves, her and I are arguing, and I'm like, listen, man, you're not gonna be able to deal with my lifestyle, right? You're too, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like,
You're too green.
yeah, you're not, we're not gonna, I can't do this. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna be dealing with some ruka ragging on me. Like, I'm not good with that shit. So she gets upset, right? And she's like, what are you talking about, man? I'm out. I'm leaving. Hey, it's cool. We just ain't gonna make it. She pushes me down, bro. Like I'm sitting on the bed. She pushes me down, straddles my fucking chest, starts slapping me in the face,
It
and
was an
she's
accident.
while she's pointing at me, crying, talking about you're not leaving me,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just laying
Territorial.
there. I'm laying there like, what the fuck is bitch?
Domestic violence at its finest.
I
Keep
didn't
going. I'm
mean to.
listening.
I
And
didn't mean
so
to do that.
You
Listen.
didn't mean to.
No,
I noticed every time something happened, you didn't mean to do this.
no, I didn't mean to do it.
so she's crying, saying, "You're not." I waited for you all. She waited like fucking a month and a half, bro.
I still waited.
This
Like,
is the
I
things I get.
yeah, I
Boo, boo,
waited
boo,
all that
boo.
time. You're not gonna leave me. You're not doing this, and she's sitting there just slapping me, and I'm just sitting there like, "What? This brother is crazy." Like I don't know what. Like I'm just laying there. Like I don't want to hurt. I don't want to hurt her. I'm not trying to, So I'm just like, man, get the fuck off me. and we end up making up and whatever. But she was nuts, bro.
Okay, and to my defense, I've never done that in my life. I wasn't used to
Hmm.
somebody telling me that it's over, it's done. Like I never had
Oh, you
somebody
talking
like
about you've
break
never
up
been
with me.
rejected?
No, I've never had anybody break
Because
up
all
with
you
me. Like
dealt with, all you dealt with a bunch of clowns. That didn't have no backbone.
Hey,
it was, it wasn't that. I just was used to like people crying for me, not me crying for them,
Right?
and them
No, I
trying to
get it.
leave me.
I
It
know.
was
I know.
weird. So I
No, I
didn't.
get it.
So in the
I've
heat
seen
of
it.
the
I've heard it.
moment, I might have slapped him around just a couple times by accident. It was like I said. It was just. I think I blacked out for a minute. I don't know.
hey, bro. Not even that. Trip out on this.
Oh, the
So,
plot thickens. Oh, I love
when I
this. This is
met her,
juicy.
right? We're talking on the phone. I'm like, hey, you gonna come visit me, right? She's gonna come in and she's like, yeah, her tia's gonna come visit Longo, and so she's gonna come up and visit me, right? We're both in, obviously we're in close custody. We're behind glass. They bring us out in with chains and they chain
Look
us.
at Yvonne.
So she comes out, yeah. So she comes out, or I come out, and they chain me down, and I'm sitting. I grab the phone. They uncuff one cuff so you can grab your phone, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm talking to her, but I'm a shy dude, bro. Like no bullshit. Like I've never been the type of vato that can walk up to a bitch at like the mall and like all that holla. That's not me. You know what I'm saying? So when we're in the visita, I really don't know what to say. Like over the phone, I talk your ass off. You know what I'm saying? Like you you think I'm Don Juan right there, but face to face, I'm pussy, right? So I'm sitting there, bro, and I'm just like looking around and shit. And she gets mad. She's like, do you want to leave? Well, like, what's wrong? And I was like, nah, they already chained me down and left. Like, it's cool. They locked the door. And
But
I'm
do you
joking.
hear how that sounds? Like, nah, even if I wanted to leave, I couldn't leave because they already chained me down. So I'm stuck here at this visit. Like, do you
But
hear how crazy that sounds?
I'm joking with her, bro. It was a joke. And she takes it serio, right? So once the visit's over, I go back up. She's going down. She's crying in the elevator, bro,
I
leaving the.
wasn't crying. I was a little upset and sniffling that I wasted my time on an inmate.
So I get back upstairs and Longo yells down to me a couple hours later. He's like, hey, Carnal, is Jovan going to come back and visit you tonight? I was like, yeah, she said she was. So he stays quiet and goes, hey, bro, she ain't coming back. She don't think you like her. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, she don't think you like her. I go, send me the phone, bro. So he sends me the phone. I call her, but he tells me, don't tell her I told you, right? So I got to play it off. I'm like, what's up, girl? What are you doing? Da, da, da. And I'm like, are you going to come see me tonight? And she's like, do you want me to? And I'm like, yeah, why? What's up? She don't say nothing, bro. I already know what happened, but she don't say nothing. So then when she comes that evening, because we were allowed 30 minutes in the morning, 30 minutes in the evening, right? You can get 3 of those a week.
Well, she's
So
hardcore for half hour or two.
so
She
she
was in
comes,
love.
bro. Hey, she comes back, brother, that night, that evening, and she's wearing
I'm
she,
wearing brown. I was wearing a tan shirt and brown pants. And he's like, "Oh, you look like the guards." And
it's
I'm
not
just
how
like,
it's not how I said it, bro. She sat down and I'm joking, bro. Like I'm
I know
nervous,
you're
he
bro.
had
busting
a
her balls, but
dry
she's so
sense of
sensitive.
humor though.
That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying. She's not
I'm
used to,
nervous. I'm trying to break, you know what I mean? I'm just trying to like,
to break the ice. I get
yeah.
you.
So I'm like, man, I go,
Put a
why you
smile on
dressed?
her face.
I'm like, why you dressed like the placas? she
This freaking guy. I'm like, oh my God.
she got all we thought. She was all again, and I was
She was just an emotional wreck, huh?
No, you know what I think it was? I think it was like a reality check. I had never, ever in my life had anybody joke like that with me or say those things or acted like if they weren't interested. I didn't date guys like that. I didn't.
No, I
And
get
like
it.
I said, that day
You
that
were the life of the party.
I had a guy go to my mom's work crying when I broke up with him.
No,
Like
I get that.
crying and begging my mom, like I need to get back with your daughter, please. Like, that's what I was used to. And then I meet this guy and he's like rude. So it's like, I didn't know how to act,
Yeah,
you
hey,
know?
like Dougie, huh? Who's Dougie?
Somebody.
Good old Dougie.
He became gay after
Hmm?
he said no wonder he ended up with Bob.
Oh my God, not Bob.
See? Man, there's a lot of boyfriends, huh? At a young age.
Well, I did.
Yeah.
I did have boyfriends in high school and in junior high. I mean, I was allowed to have a boyfriend at 13, or yeah, I think I was allowed to have a boyfriend at 13. But my boyfriends had to come meet my parents. If we went to the movies or whatever, like I had to show my parents the ticket stubs. I had to be home at a certain time. They wanted to know where.
Chaperone.
They wanted to know where I was going, who I was going to be with. If I said, "Oh, I'm going to go to my friend's house," well, who's all going to be there? I'm going to call their parents. If they wanted to come visit me, we had to hang out in the front yard or, the backyard or wherever, watch a movie in the front living room or something. Like they knew what was up. Like they had to meet my boyfriends. They had to know who they were. So it was just better than me sneaking around and acting like I
But you
don't
was
have a
doing that
boyfriend.
anyways.
And then Daddy came into the picture.
Locked it
Oh,
down.
Bam.
Had to show her the ropes.
There it
oh,
is. There.
thanks for that. thanks,
Hip hip hooray! Hip hip hooray!
thanks for the great first years.
I
She
felt
needed
bad.
a Happy Meal.
There was
She needed
sometimes
that,
that
Jojo, at that moment, I probably did.
there was
The
times where I felt bad because she was like naive as fuck, bro. It was a trip. We got raided one time, and the placas like parked that how they have that anti whatever tank that they got.
And they're talking about the Batarang and all that.
Yeah, they parked that bitch on my fucking front lawn, and they just instead of kicking in our door, they just got on the highway and started calling out, everybody in the house, come out with your hands up and shit. And they had snipers and shit on my neighbors' roofs and shit. And so she's going down the stairs. I'm like, hey, baby, sorry,
And instead of her flushing the stuff down, she's coming out. They got us. Come out. They got us. They got us.
I sent her out, and I was doing that. I flushed some shit. I had the Mac 11 in the bed with me, but I had an empty room, so I ran over there and I wiped off the fingerprints and I just threw it in that room. And I was doing all that while she's going down the stairs to go outside, and I'm like, I'll be out there in a minute. I'm sorry. And
He's like, I'm sorry for this. Oh, okay, yeah, it's all right. Don't worry.
apologize.
It's okay.
My
I
bad.
forgive you this time, but I love you. I love you.
But see, that was the thing. I never loved somebody the way I loved him.
What is
So
this? Hey,
it was
Cricket, what did you say?
different.
Hey, Manuel, te quiero, Manuel, te quiero.
Yeah.
Mm,
It was
Oh my goodness.
mm.
Visita
Come
esta.
on, come on, hey, Pac-Man, hey, Pac-Man.
That's cool right there, guys. Yeah, I did the same thing. I told so Gasper Coronel said, hey homie, my wife never missed the fucking visita. I stopped. Visita, I told her I'll see her when I get out. She said no. Damn. Yeah.
Dang.
I told Jovan the same thing. I told her go on. Well, I was facing the death penalty at the time, and I told her just go on, do her thing. I was like, you can't wait. She's like, don't tell me what I can do. You don't know what I can do.
I would have left though if he would have went to death row or something.
But I thought you said you would have waited till they whacked me. You lied?
No, I guess I would have waited till you went to death row and then they put you down. Then I would have probably moved on with my life.
Thank you.
You're welcome. See?
That makes me feel good. Reassurance, huh?
That's love right there.
Yeah, that's real love.
But for anybody to sit there, anybody that's in prison for the rest of their life or is on death row, and your girl is telling you that she's gonna wait for you, like, well, not wait for you because you're never getting out, but she's out here just gonna be with you. It's not gonna happen. That's a lie. It's not true. Eventually, you want to grow old with somebody and have a life with them. It just is what it is. That's the reality of it. That's the reality of it. And like I told him,
and fools shouldn't be selfish and want them to, throw their life away because you did, not like that, not for a full life. I was cool with, you know what I mean, just, you know, was what it was.
Yeah.
But till they put you down, said Sergio. LOL. I know. That's how she said it. Like I was a fucking perro.
No, I'm just saying till the state put you down. Like, then what do you want me to do?
Wait for me.
For what? The afterlife?
Yeah.
Why not? That's love.
You never seen Weekend at Bernie's?
No, I don't remember it.
Remember when they're walking, the vato dies and they're like tie their feet to their feet and they're walking with them and shit.
Yeah, I'm
Never
not gonna
mind.
do that with you.
You fucked up the joke. Don't even talk.
Oh, sorry, but I'm not. That's just honesty, and that anybody can, you know, can agree to that. That if your man is on death row or doing life, that's it.
Yeah.
You're gonna end up meeting someone else. It just is what it is.
Longo went to
She wanted the life insurance. That's what she's waiting.
Whatever.
Hey, Longo lost his girl as soon as he went to death row.
Hey, I'm not.
That is true.
What's that song? I'm not saying
Great.
she's a gold digger.
Purqueño said of all the
Oh,
romantic afterlife movies, he points out Weekend at Bernie's.
I know, right? Do you hear this guy? I mean, come on. Here's
Uh,
something else sometimes. But
but
anyway, I want to
we're
say goodnight to everybody.
yeah, we're 2.5 hours. We can go all night, man. But
And hey guys, we raised $350 to buy band equipment for the band at Agua Fria High School.
agua.
Oh,
There's no G.
it's what?
I mean, there's a G, but you're not supposed to say it.
Oh, the G is silent?
Yeah.
Oh, it's not agua? Agua. Oh, it's agua.
Oh, there we go. Hey, I heard you the other, earlier. You had the accent.
I thought you say the G. I thought so the high school's called Water?
It's our cold water. Agua Fria High School. Because the
Oh.
Agua Fria River is right there.
Oh. Okay. Oh my God, it's all coming. Oh, okay. I get it now.
So
Oh.
look at the big brain on brand.
Okay. It took me a minute. Okay, no.
All right.
Well, anyway, we raised $350. Thank you to Ropi, Francisco VP, Ropi, Francisco VP, and then who were the other two that donated the $10?
I had to pull it up.
There was two that donated $10 each yesterday on the live. So, and then with my little bonus that I got from work, I'm adding that on there, and it all came out to like $350 that we raised, and that's going to go to band equipment for Agua Fria High School. There we go.
Yeah. I can't remember where this is. I'll have all the names mañana to remember.
Yeah, no problem, Yvonne. You know.
Oh, Yvonne, I hope that she's doing okay, and
Yeah.
tell her I'm so
Hey,
sorry for
just
that. I know how she's probably feeling, and if you need anything from us, let us know, okay?
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you guys again. We appreciate you guys tapping in for this conversation. Thank you guys for playing a part in it, taking part in it. And I know some of it was just us talking, so we appreciate you guys being here to listen to us. Hopefully it does some good, maybe. That's right. Muson donated $10.
Oh, that's right.
And then one
That
of
was
the
my
other,
son.
I can't remember the other homie's name también, but he gave $10 también. So yeah, absolutely. I'll have the names and I'll put them up because
Well, yeah, we'll put the names up, and then we'll show the receipts, and then we'll show the school and the
band
band
equipment and
teacher
all
and
that.
everything. Yep.
So we really do appreciate everybody that was here tonight. Thank you guys so much. We're gonna hopefully we can make this a thing as often as Chango can. Maybe I don't know, once or twice a week he can come in and do this with us because I think he has a lot of insight on this as well, and I think that it was was good. I think we got chemistry for this, and I know there's a lot of questions still that people would probably like to ask him. Uh, so we'll definitely do it again, and sooner rather than later. Um, so
And if we didn't get to all the comments, sorry. Some of them weren't even worth reading anyway, haters. But
Oh,
just
here you
saying.
go. You were doing
Just
good.
there she goes bullying again,
Yeah,
bro.
there we go.
okay, no, I
Playing
mean,
the bad
see
cop,
what I
good cop. You're the bad
see
cop.
what I mean? It's not my fault.
It ain't my fault.
Jojo said, "Oh
Did
shit,
I
her
do
whole
that?
life was a lie."
Okay,
Mhm.
your face is a lie, Jojo. Okay, how about that?
The devil's a lie.
Thank you, Gasper. Appreciate that, brother. Sergio, órale pues, bottom bunks. Have a good night, everyone. Disco and Super Bisto said, "Bye bye, sausage party."
Oh goodness.
All those, said Burqueño. I know, right? No, seriously, this was a good we had a great conversation here. I think I'm gonna pull some snippets out if I can and do some shorts on it. They're not gonna be the funny shorts, obviously, but I think there was some good things said here that need to be highlighted, and we will definitely do it again. So appreciate everybody that stuck around.
All right, guys. Appreciate you guys, having me on. And
Hey,
everybody else out there too,
did you give Big Guy the thing on Facebook?
I tried to Google how to do it. I'm trying to figure it out. I will.
You talking about me?
Oh.
No, big motherfucker.
Oh,
On,
okay. I thought you
because
were,
this
I
is
thought
also
you, I
going.
thought you were calling me big guy.
Oh no, I call Big MF Big Guy because I'm not gonna cuss.
I
So
got you. Yeah, neither
So
am I.
this is going live to YouTube and Facebook, and on YouTube I know how to. People have wrenches. They're moderators and stuff. I'm trying to figure out how to do it on Facebook because I have people on there that are really mean to me too sometimes.
they're mean to you.
Yeah,
Oh, sorry.
see that?
All right, Sergio.
I have feelings.
You care.
I do.
Do you care?
I do. So just a
Okay.
good job with your first time sharing, Chango. This ain't his first time. This ain't his first rodeo. He be sharing. But I don't think you but I don't think it's you've been more of like where they're interviewing you, right?
Yes.
The first time you like actually just did your thing. And I think it's better that way. I'd rather you tell it the way you know it than me sit
Well,
here and
because I wasn't, trying to get into the nitty gritty. Because to be honest, with you, I'm trying to like pull back from all the stuff. But I could share it. I could got deeper and deeper. You know what I mean? And get
yeah,
into details. The thing was I don't know the crowd here. You know what I mean?
yeah,
As far as I know certain individuals, but as far as I could just talk, because I didn't bring up names. I didn't bring up details. You know what I mean?
yeah. Well, whatever you think will
No,
benefit the
I mean I
target
can tell the
audience.
story, like in depth details, but I don't know if they can understand it. You know what I mean? And I think homegirl will be like, she'll get a bloody nose too. She's like, oh my goodness, what? Huh? What? I didn't get that. You know?
Yeah.
Hey, babe. What do you mean by that? I'm just kind of, I'm not trying to understand that. I'm still.
I think honestly, I think it's you could just insert name here. Everybody will pretty much get the gist. Well,
Right.
but I mean, the main thing is pointing out the what is the clicas, the treachery, the backstabbing, all that type of stuff, and just examples of that. But anyway,
All right, guys.
Cheetah said, "Hey, hi, I'm here. What's happening?"
Ya pa
Three,
qué?
2.5 hours later,
Yeah, ya
Cheetah's
pa qué? Yeah,
Anunnaki already
hey,
came.
hey, bro. She sounds like homegirl. Hey, the check's in the mail. What happened was,
Geronimo said he just sent money for the Agua Fria band, hermano Cricket. All right, brother. I will. We will definitely. It'll go. I'm seeing it right here. Send $33 for Agua Fria band.
Oh, thank you so much.
Appreciate that, Geronimo. And
Thank you.
hopefully, uh, Jovan gets hers Thursday, so hopefully by the weekend or early next week we'll have the pictures of what we end up getting the kids and stuff. And
No, it's either going to be tomorrow or Friday.
oh, is it?
It's
Oh
going to be
yeah,
that soon. Yeah, we're doing it this week, and then we're taking the backpacks to the Arizona Helping Hands for the foster kids, the 24 backpacks that we have. So
the ones that are left.
yeah, so it's going to be a busy week, guys.
Cool.
All
Órale,
right. Good night, everybody.
All
we're
right,
gonna
guys.
get out of here. Hey, Chango, just let her hang up, and then me and you can start talking again.
All right.
You can. You can. That's okay. I'm okay with that.
Puro pedo, just playing. Nah, we're out of here. We appreciate
guys.
everybody. Thank you so much, Chango.
Bye.
All right, now click it.
Hmm?
You're not frozen. Stop trying to act like you froze.
You
Why
thought
do
for
you
a
do
minute.
that? No,
Chango
I
thought.
didn't. No, I knew you weren't. You're
Chango
not a
thought.
you're not a good actor.
He even said, like he was like, what happened?
No, no,
Fool,
he didn't.
his Wi-Fi went out.
No.
Oh, here, I want to fight.
This freaking guy, I swear.
Which one?
Oh,
There it
I
is. There.
tell you.
Alright, we're gonna get out of here. Appreciate everybody. Thank you so much again, like I said, and we will see you guys on the next one.